Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Terminus podcast. For the weeks of March 7th, 2015, I am your dispatcher Ellis, otherwise known as Train Man. With me I have my engineers Wiebold, TJ, and Noki.
That's me.
And of course our brakeman this week is JDur.
Howdy.
Don't say that.
So we've got something kind of special coming here right after the intro, but before we do, the train will terminate at this station.
But wow.
Madrid.
Okay, this week we're doing something different. We're actually, instead of watching trains, we're on a train from Barcelona to Madrid in Spain.
We're not actually on a train.
I'm around the train.
Actually, we're under the train, guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say, now the train's gonna hit us. Oh no. But we're going to take a cab ride from Barcelona to Madrid. We'll see if we get to Madrid. It's approximately a 3-hour journey.
I hope we don't get to
I
Madrid.
don't think we're gonna get to Madrid.
We may or may not, because we do have a lot planned for this podcast. This is a very special episode. So, with that, it's dark.
It's a really useful episode.
Oh, it's a tunnel.
We're not going to survive this one, guys.
I refuse.
He's not going fast enough for us to survive the exit out of the tunnel.
Screw
So
this.
we're just going to start off with Trackside Tales, and we're going to talk about the journey to Albany and back, where Meanwhile, my engineers are dying. Okay, so earlier today, I realized that I had. Earlier today, I realized we're going
it goes
even
down
deeper.
even more.
Earlier today, I realized that I had to pick up my tickets for my train ride home come spring break.
Ellis, you're coming home?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
So, I grabbed my Amtrak voucher because it's a voucher, and I have to I have to bring it in person to the station to buy the tickets with it. Because reasons.
Question?
Yep.
Was you don't want to take this train guy there?
I don't know, but I didn't get to talk to him. I went up and I said, before, I'd like tickets from here to Boston on the 22nd and back on the 29th. And before you ask, yes, I'm sure I want to take the Lakeshore Limited. And he just kind of looked at me and went, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't going to ask you otherwise.
Did you say the Lakeshore Limited or the Lake Shore?
No, I said Lakeshore. I should have said Lake.
I'm liking this tunnel.
Well, it's kind of funny because ticket people normally don't have a sense of humor, so they'd be like...
I'm unconscious right now, by the way, because you helped my prep.
They would have been like...
I'm speaking in spirit. For the rest of this podcast, I'm dead.
This
is my ghost. This episode is Wiebold's ghost.
I should give you a point for dying.
Death points.
No.
It's funny.
Yes.
Do you do it in underwater scenes in movies too, where you hold your breath to see if you would have survived?
Depends on the other one. Like in Thunderball, where they have scuba masks and stuff, no. But if they fall into a pool, yes. Like in Skyfall, when they fall into the lake.
Yeah.
Yes.
I almost died in Finding Nemo.
Really?
Jaws wasn't much fun either.
Yeah.
You get a point for that.
Granted, that was for different reasons.
So,
Kid behind me kept kicking my seat.
also you stabbed him and got thrown out.
That too.
We should have watched this. We should have watched the AVE Valencia to Madrid
How
in the
about
corner.
we don't? Shut up.
Shut up, TJ.
We're gonna pass another train at some point or another, TJ.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying because it looks so beautiful in the thumbnail.
Whatever.
This is the same line. Barcelona to Madrid, Madrid to Barcelona. It's the same line.
No, it's Valencia, not Barcelona.
Oh,
I don't know where that is.
Oh, they're both Barcelona. Unless you're... Oh, Valencia, the coastal one?
Yeah.
We did look at that one. It's bad.
Well, it's not
Really?
bad.
green signal.
It's like the coast is only part of it, and then the rest is plains and grubby city.
You're a grubby city.
Valencia to Madrid is not as nice as Barcelona to Madrid.
Guys, the light at the end of the tunnel.
The light at the end of the tunnel, or another one of these lights that's on the side, and just a really big. Or we're about to get hit by another train.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 tracks.
I could reference the joke I made during the building podcast about why are New Yorkers so upset?
Yeah, what was that?
Because the light at the other end of the
that was an annoying.
the light at the end of the tunnel is New Jersey.
Sounded like a brake squeal.
I have
Put
the
my
volume
volume
turned
off
off.
because he was playing really annoying music.
Wiebold, we're almost there.
Oh, that's right. I can.
He can live again.
Signal.
I can become unconscious.
You will be resuscitated.
It's quite blue.
Okay, so during to Albany and back, I took the bus from Troy down into Albany, and I decided that instead of waiting for the next bus, I would walk across the river. So you climb up this massive ramp to get onto one of the highway bridges, and then you walk over the Hudson River. I took a couple cool pictures of the Hudson because it's completely frozen over right now.
Elsa came to town.
Somebody give him a point for that. I'm busy doing something.
I will.
Wow.
I need to find my
Come
download
on,
because I want to show off these pictures.
Somebody give him a point for what?
He made a Frozen reference.
Oh.
I got it. I have 2 screens.
Yeah.
I got it.
No, I go.
So this is the Hudson River completely frozen over. Made it all the way over to the other side, and by the time I'd made it to
you can't see it.
by the time I'd made it to the Amtrak station, I decided that I wouldn't do that again because it was a bit of a walk. I ended up doing it again because I missed the bus out. So I got there, I got the tickets. I cooled down for a minute because despite it being cold enough for the entire Hudson River to be frozen, I was very warm by the time I. This is a long one, guys.
Okay, so this sucks because I saw that I couldn't see the tunnel coming, and I have a buffalo wing in my mouth. It just came out of the microwave, so I got like this hot, spicy thing burning my tongue.
Well, that
Well, that was a great idea. Okay, so we're gonna die in this tunnel. Anyways, so I made it there. I got my tickets. I was on the way back. I missed the bus. I walked back across the Hudson River. I barely caught the bus back to Troy, and then when I was in Troy, I saw the RPI shuttle driving away from the stop, and I chased after it. And they finally stopped and let me in.
Oh, I have a funny story.
Yeah.
Speaking of chasing after a bus, so I was in Spanish the other day, right? And this kid, because Coventry schools let out early, which is a town like an hour, or not an hour, like 30 minutes away from Warwick. I would say probably.
So
maybe
in another state.
And so, no, it's not in another state. That's 45 minutes, Jader.
End of it.
That's 45 minutes, Jader.
Oh,
but
meh.
So
shut up.
So the Coventry schools let out early, so the bus came to get the kids that live in Coventry early, because like the buses would go back to their spot earlier. So they came to get the kids at Hendricken, and this one kid, he missed the bus, and he was chasing after the bus.
Right at the end of the tunnel.
I was in Spanish, and there's like giant picture windows looking at the parking lot where the buses are. And so what he did, he was running after the bus in the parking lot, and he slipped and fell on his face.
How is that? How is this funny?
You're laughing.
Why are you giggling? Why are you giggling?
It shouldn't. We shouldn't be. We're going to hell for this.
Yes, but it's funny, and my whole class started laughing. My Spanish teacher, she's probably in her 20s, she was laughing her butt off. And
this isn't family friendly, TJ.
She was laughing her butt off.
Maybe they moaned in
it. Yeah, really not.
She was laughing her butt off, and she was laughing so hard that her makeup started running. Like her eyeliner started running because she was laughing so hard.
Okay, so can we get to the train stuff now?
Yeah.
Sorry, my story was at least somewhat train related.
We've got fun. We've got words.
Mine was related to yours, so it's
Ancho Iberico. Ancho as standard.
At $10.
Estendar?
No, agua.
I think that's a verb.
Why do you base that it's a verb?
Because
Such
in
a
Spanish, AR verbs.
This is
The
not a
letter
Spanish
A is-
podcast. It's a
What?
building podcast.
Yeah, but this is a Spanish railway.
Whatever. A is not a verb. Madrid has an
No,
A in it.
No, AR verbs. Like if they end in AR, it's a verb.
God.
He's taking
Does
Spanish.
Does AR
So am
verbs?
I know what he's
I was
saying.
just talking about
he
how
was just
I
talking about his hot Spanish teacher. Okay, moving on.
Wait, hang on.
I won't disagree.
Okay, Wiebold, trackside tales, go.
Ellis has the tamales. Hang on, I need to let my mouth cool off from that buffalo wing. It still hurts.
Baby,
Oh, we've got a speedometer.
man up and eat too.
Hot. Okay. So, dang, that hurts. This
Maybe
game
not
really
the best
wanted-
time to eat buffalo wings during the podcast.
I didn't realize my part was coming up so quickly. I thought you had more.
No,
That and I've just run out of milk.
I would have finished a long time ago, except we went in a TJ bus slipping and falling tangent.
Okay.
That was
Just try
funny.
not to breathe because the oxygen makes it work. Okay. So earlier today, I went to the Colorado State Railroad Museum, and it's obvious the rail fanning you do there. There's a lot of trains to see.
Speeding up.
A lot of, excuse me, a lot of really cool stuff they were running today. You know what? I'll talk about the museum a little bit later because it's assigned jurisdiction. So I'll talk specifically about museum stuff later.
Hmm.
But outside of the museum rail fanning I did was I found out about a new line. There's a corporation called CIT, and I don't know what CIT stands for, unfortunately, but
Well, it used to mean counselor in training when I was in camp, but
basically it's
I
a
don't think
company
that's it.
that has a fleet of locomotives, and if a mainline railroad gets to a point where they need all the locomotives they can, and they're
I got
either an engine
figured it out.
short or one breaks down or
Figured out
something.
CIT.
What is it?
Colorado Interstate Transport.
I don't think
Okay.
so. No.
I think that's it.
No. Let me see. Let me look it up because it's not that. Commercial financing and lending.
How does that CIT?
Wait, no, that's what they do. Sorry. What does CIT stand for?
I was gonna say, how does an
alright.
F fit into CIT?
What does CIT stand for?
Counselor in
Well,
training.
thank you. Google's telling me it's an abbreviation. Thank you.
Oh, shit.
Going up a hill.
Here's a list of things it can stand for. Citation
Put your
Council and
hands
Training
up.
Crisis Intervention Team, Cork Institute of Technology, the Cebu Institute of Technology.
Train.
Train.
Double
it's
train.
double.
Two trains.
Double train, Bo.
Two
Oh my god.
trains.
That cannot be. It's a double train boom. That can't be aerodynamically sound to have just a giant wedge taken out of your train.
Shh. They're Spanish. They know what they're doing.
They're spinning. Doing.
Look how
That's why they're
smooth.
having a financial crisis, and that's why there was the big high-speed accident not long ago. Would it be great if we had that footage?
Well,
It's a
we could,
terrible thought, and
we
it's
could,
awful.
I mean, that is awful. But if that's how
Give
this
him a
podcast
point for-
ended,
Giving a
That
point.
would be
Give him a
awful.
point for having terrible thoughts.
No,
No.
no.
We all have
Oh,
we're already.
Well,
we've
I'm
already
pretty sure we
been to
just
awful
lost all the
places.
Spanish viewers.
We got
Anyways.
already. Yeah,
And
it-
kids
it's
who fall
awful,
on their
but wouldn't
face
that
on
be
ice.
so great?
I mean, it would be
Be interesting.
tunnel.
This
I
is
mean,
a short one.
double
you'd be
tunnel.
going- not only would you get the crash and everything, but you'd also. Oh no, there's another one.
I can't do it. That's so funny. How we're on.
It's not that I can't hold my breath. I can't stop laughing.
Can't stop laughing.
Okay, there's no more
Finally.
tunnels, thank God.
Now
It's a giant
all the-
silo.
There's nothing more to tunnel
Granville.
through.
Interesting.
Granville.
See us, Brandville.
All right, so aside, here's another one.
Are you serious? Anyway, I can't find what CIT stands for, but
Long one.
Take this.
That's what you said.
Martorell.
Wiebold.
I died. I'm dead.
There's another one.
Oh, come on!
Can't they learn how to dig cuts? I mean, seriously?
What?
TJ cuts.
This is a bad idea.
Screw you.
Alright, carry on. Too many tunnels.
Actually reach 3 hours at this point.
Too many tunnels. Okay,
Too many
Wiebold,
tunnels.
continue with the story.
See, at this rate, we might actually.
Okay, you know what? I'll just hand this off to somebody who's actually going to talk. So, TJ, this is
no way I can talk. There's no more tunnels. There's nothing more to tunnel through.
Oh wait.
It's funny.
Yes, there is.
It's funny
Oh, it's
because
just a curve.
Let me
might-
just finish up quickly. Okay, so basically there's a company, it's called CIT. We don't know what CIT stands for. CIT has a private fleet of locomotives, and whenever a mainline railroad gets in a position where they need an engine and they can't get one,
chair.
whether one and
what was the point of this cutaway?
breaks or they're just short an engine because the train's a little bit longer than they expected.
No, I'm walking.
They call these guys, and they're basically rental locomotives for mainline service.
What is the point of that cutaway? I don't understand.
I'm not sure, but we're
Maybe
back.
he
I
Anyway.
wish they'd done it
But-
during the tunnel
so we-
segment.
That would have been great. But yeah, that's basically my rail fanning is seeing all the CIT units hooked onto some BNSF stuff, and I'll talk about the museum in assigned jurisdictions. Hopefully, when there's fewer tunnels.
See,
I'd fewer buffalo
like,
wings. They're so
I feel like-
so delicious.
I feel like we might. I feel like we might
Jello
reach 3. I feel like we might reach 3 hours if there's a tunnel spree like that every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Guarantee we will.
Anyways,
You're
so-
serious?
Oh no.
Speaking of,
Oh.
15
Anyway, somebody Milky. Or I mean TJ.
Yeah.
is-
TJ doesn't have
I have
anything.
nothing.
He had the same
Okay,
thing he had
Milky.
last week.
Well, I'm already dead, so I'm talking from the dead.
See, it would be better if tunnels came few and far between, because then it'd be funny.
Yeah.
Well, it's
No,
like fun.
Now they'll go. Hell, the
It's
spring
just
was coming.
hilarious.
So. Okay,
Alright.
but my real fanning, I saw a few trains.
Is the title of this podcast just gonna be tunnels?
Probably gonna be like, we can't breathe or something.
Let's not hold it. Milky, continue.
Anyways, 1501 is back and for this. And the cheapy 40 is nowhere to be seen, which is
Good.
Um,
Early EMDs rule.
I saw a Yisu unit that was one of the
Speedo,
Speedometer.
one of the
299
yeah,
kilometers.
Oh, they almost got the
98.
Train Fever achievement. Almost.
Well, they didn't because they went back down.
Yeah. That's why I said
Thanks,
almost.
all.
Out as a digital readout on the analog.
ETS emergency stop. What if we just jam the
Asphalt.
emergency stop button?
We have to stop the train.
She's gonna
Okay.
get
Only
thrown off the
emergency
train.
brake.
But
Imagine if they
anyway,
had those.
They don't?
I think
I'm fairly sure they
Well, no, like that style.
Whatever.
like you pull
they
the
prob-
cord.
Well, they did.
Yeah. No, I mean like
okay,
if they
Milky,
had them in like
Milky,
the Acela.
continue.
I think Albany and Easton got a new Dash 8. Because I saw a Dash 8 with the Union Pacific scribbled out. And it appeared to
Yay.
be on
I got
Albany.
something from the Dream Crushers.
Well, actually, Easton Company.
Whatever.
Um,
Don't
yeah.
crush my dreams, Milky.
Well, Albany and Easton doesn't
Every
typically
time
crush
something dark
Train.
comes on the track, train.
TJ, you accidentally deleted
And-
your header.
Yeah.
How about you fix that?
Going to the restroom, BRB.
You're not supposed to announce it. That's the point of typing it.
We're looking at a latch.
Yeah.
Now the ceiling.
An
That's
event.
about That's about all I said.
Alright. Well, moving on to...
Wait.
JDur, you got anything to talk about?
Yes.
Oh, I thought the dark that came over was a tunnel. It was just a bridge.
Well, last Saturday I went into Columbus to watch Despicable Me.
Oh, no.
And, I went to Kosai, same place I went to a few weeks ago, a few months ago to see Polar Express. Screw you guys. Screw tunnels. But, the place is right across from some railroad tracks, and I saw a coal train parked there. A coal train that runs on whole grain. Woo! But, it was a CSX oil or coal train that didn't derail, which I'm really surprised about. Smiley face.
I mean, there's another one coming up.
And that, that's my real fanning.
We've got to continue. This is getting beyond ridiculous. How many times?
Didn't we already establish that?
All right. Assign jurisdictions.
Moving on to local stops.
Establish what? That this is getting ridiculous, or that we need to go faster?
Stops.
We need to go faster. We always need to go faster. Attached jet engines.
The Spanish tried that.
What?
The Spanish tried that on one of these trains, and they did a barrel roll.
They didn't have enough jet engines.
El Foix.
El Foix?
I'm sure TJ would be able to tell us what that meant. Anyways, moving on to local stops, we've got something out of Steamtown this week. It is nothing really special or particularly train-related, but they're doing a presentation on the Civil War. And
Are there any bad puns this time?
No.
Los Moños.
No bad puns this time. They're doing a presentation on the Civil War. The unfortunate naming of this society called the Confederation of Union Generals.
La Rapita.
Come on, guys. Wow. Really?
What happened?
That didn't go through anybody's mind? Nobody realized that? No one?
What happened?
But that's on Sunday, March 15th, so that's soon. That's next weekend.
Say my
exactly
name
1 week from when this is coming out, as a matter of fact. At 1 p.m. presentation, meeting the public at Steamtown National Historical Society.
Wait, what is this?
Site, rather. It's a Civil War presentation put on by the Confederation of Union Generals.
That's cool.
Yeah. At the main narrow gauge, they're making a push for expansion. Now, of course, it's pretty self-explanatory that they've been trying to do this for a while. They bought the land, whatever, but right now they're specifically asking for people to come and contribute to the effort to put together the new site in a more built-out sense. Getting
station,
getting ties purchased and getting things put down. What?
Wait, what are they moving? I'm sorry, I wasn't here. It's my fault. But
now we're back in the coach.
They're not moving.
Fire extinguisher, no smoking.
Or what are they doing?
No, they're moving.
Are they building?
This is out of the main narrow gauge. The
blue buttons.
Oh, I'm sorry. Your mic cut out, and I didn't hear the transition. My bad.
Light.
Well, out of the main narrow gauge, push for expansion, buying
just
ties,
cutting away to random crap on the train.
Light.
This is lights.
Were we just looking at
blue
random
buttons.
stuff?
Light.
Oh,
No light.
amazing. We don't have those.
Ooh, ah.
We don't have those in America.
They look
What
like
is this?
eyeballs.
This witchcraft of incandescent light bulb.
These are LEDs powering a picture of an incandescent light bulb. What is it?
Also, out of the B&M 3713 project. Now, I know we didn't really get to hear from them last week, but we've got something cool. They won a grant, or they didn't win per se, but they were given a $10,000 grant. They were the sole recipient of this. Of course, when you're restoring a steam locomotive, $10,000 doesn't do that much.
It doesn't get you very far.
Doesn't do
But
squat.
it's still $10,000. And when you're working with
$10,000 more than they had.
and yeah, when you're working with Broketown, it's
It's money.
yeah, exactly.
It's
So there's also a book called What the hell is it called? It doesn't say what it's called. That's really helpful, guys. By a guy named David Crosby.
I'm David Crosby.
Elvender L. Oh god.
Okay, it's called the Lackawanna Railroad in northeastern Pennsylvania. Okay, thank you.
Well, that's a good title.
Okay, so
fake out.
they're getting proceeds for every time somebody buys this book. So it's cool.
Do we get $1 for every second we hold our breath?
I wish. Why are we going into two separate tunnels here? Who designed this?
I don't know. Why is the line split in two?
That was my question.
Why are there white lines on the side?
Oh.
So you don't step here. Somebody blew on their microphone instead of inhaling.
TJ, I blame you.
TJ doesn't know how to hold his breath. No wonder why he can't. Wow, it's dark. Anyways, there's a lot of stuff in this organized in 1851, thrived in the anthracite coal traffic, and in the first decade of the 1900s, the railroad underwent a substantial modernization and improvement project, which was documented extensively by company-hired photographers. So basically, there's a lot of pictures of 1910-era Lackawanna Railroad. So that's pretty cool.
Oh god, no.
And the really long one I burnt, and I was trying to hold it in. And we're back together again with the other track. That's good. God. That's good. A book on the Lackawanna. I've never really known much about the Lackawanna, though.
There's too
I've
many
always
tunnels.
kind of liked them. There are too many tunnels.
Phoebe says, and Phoebe knows that smoke and cinders spoil good clothes. 'Tis thus a pleasure and a delight to ride the road of anthracite, or something along those lines.
What?
That was that was their.
It's like a crusade against tunnels now.
Yeah. People against tunnels.
Pod.
Lake Cab Forward.
Oh god.
So that's that.
Are you kidding me?
That's the cool stuff that
Screw
they got
this, I'm not holding my
at
breath.
3713 Project. The other thing is something that's actually kind of interesting and is worth talking about with you guys.
Okay.
It is the magical subway tunnel portal.
What?
Pardon?
Go ahead and look at the headline of this article.
Is it in Magical Subway Tunnel Portal?
Witnesses describe portal to mysterious G-train platform between subway stations.
Okay, am I
What?
the only one that thinks that sounds...
Is this like a platform 9 3/4
Anyone
thing?
ever seen the G-train conductor stop the train between Bedford and Austrian?
Update, we found the portal.
Yeah.
And the handle that opens a door to the tunnel and then Wait, what?
They were short turning trains at what station is it? Bedford North.
Yeah, between Bedford Northstrand and Myrtle.
Bedford Northstrand. They were short turning G trains. This is New York City, the MTA, which is now one of my jurisdictions. They were short turning trains there, so they weren't running their whole route. Therefore, they needed someone in the tower at the platform at the station. Now, I've talked about in the past how...
Rio Gaia.
I've talked about in the past how the New York City subway system is incredibly antiquated, and they have towers at basically every station. They're still using really old block diagrams, and...
It's one way to describe it.
Yeah. It's, a very... It's frankly, it's really cool. That's my take on it. It's really, really cool. And so they were dropping off these two women who were, I can't remember, is it in the story, or in the article, is it 2 or 1 person?
2.
It's 2, that's what I thought.
No.
These 2 women who are apparently, dispatchers, just dropping them off at the tower, which is, something like 200 feet off the end of the platform at Bedford Nostrand.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
So that was, and people had, of course, never seen this before because the towers now aren't used that often.
Oh.
Just because they're running them all through a centralized control center, and the alternative to getting to these towers, not only are the towers not used very often, normally they don't take trains there. Normally they do the dangerous thing of, okay, the tower's over there, a train just went, let's hop down, walk to the tower, and then hop back up.
Oh no.
Because
Zap.
theoretically...
Why are we stopping?
Theoretically, or apparently, MTA employees are trained on how to navigate the subway system when there are trains running.
Blinking light.
I think Wiebold's not going to make it. If we stopped right there within...
Why are we stopping in a tunnel?
If we stopped right there within view, that'd be hilarious.
That'd be awful.
I would
So I'm gonna be posting the links to all these. People were freaking out that, of course, the train was stopping at a station that shouldn't exist and letting off people into the middle of nowhere.
The train stops in the middle of a dark tunnel and lets two people get off in a secret door that's in the wall.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently there's, barred frosted glass windows. And yeah, that's just the tower.
Yeesh.
That's just the
That's
tower.
a little bit... I'm with them. I think I'd be a little bit creeped out.
Oh yeah, well, it's true. And it is the subway system. The reason they're barred and frosted glass... Or, not the reason, but there is a reason
Camp de
for
Tarragona.
locking up those towers properly.
Yeah.
And that is... This is the New York City subway system. I made a mention...
Wouldn't want to be the butt end of a Marvel plot. Spider-Man.
Also wouldn't want to be the butt end of some dickhead breaking into the tower and throwing a track. Or throwing a switch and crashing your train.
Yeah, again, like the plot of a lot of superhero movies, really.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We don't want supervillains,
Also-
and we're stopping at a station that it said the name of a second ago.
Yeah,
Do I have to announce stations?
No.
Hmm.
Although I guess it would be your thing
it's
to
on
tell
the
us
sign.
where we are.
It would be my thing to announce where we are.
Oh well, we're not doing that.
We're somewhere between Barcelona and Madrid.
Theoretically. Okay, thanks, Dad. We're not lost.
Ding.
Are we there yet?
We're not lost.
We're not lost. It takes skill to get lost on a train track.
Hey.
You make a train take a dirt road.
Wiebold, can you make a train take a dirt road?
Not really. And speak of dirt,
You can send them
Yikes.
somewhere without agua, though.
well, actually there was a lot of agua on the dirt note. Today I went to the Colorado Railroad Museum, like I said briefly earlier, and there is nothing but mud there currently.
Uh-oh.
The entire premise is dirt, and we had about a foot of snow last week that has all melted in the past couple of days.
Ooh.
Lucky.
So all of the mud was everywhere. A couple of times I even stepped in it, like pulled my shoe off because there was so much mud and suction in the deep mud. Yeah, not super great, but they've actually got a lot going on currently. Last week, I'd like to make a withdrawal. Last week, I think it was, I talked
How
about...
much?
Thank you, Ellis. I wish I could give you a point for that. I really do, but...
Do it.
But last
I
week,
don't want to be
I'd like
alone.
to make a withdrawal of something I said last week because it was incorrect. Colorado Railroad Museum did actually not come up with the name.
you're out of line.
Okay. They did not come up with the... Their water tower is called No Agua, and they actually did not come up with that like we proclaimed in last episode. No Agua actually was a real water tower along the Chile line of the Denver and Rio Grande Western. The story goes that as they were building the line, they needed a water stop because it is a fairly long line between Antonito and Santa Fe, I believe.
And in the middle of nowhere.
And in the middle of nowhere. So they're in the middle of the desert and they need a water stop. So they pull up to a small town and they're going to build a water tower and they ask the citizens where they can get water. And the citizens say, "There's no agua, senor." So there's no agua in this town. The railroad says no, there's plenty of agua. They drill straight down 150 feet and find agua. And so with that agua,
when you have to go 150 feet straight down, I don't normally call that plenty, but whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, well, apparently they had enough to float something because they did use quite a bit of water out of that tank. But they named the tower No Agua as a joke. So that was actually a real Rio Grande thing. That is not the museum's racist little ploy.
Apparently,
still racist,
apparently
though.
they were really proud of being racist, though.
Yeah. Today we did Black on Track last week. Today was Irish Day. I forgot. I've lost. Oh wait, no. Here's the brochure. Where are you? They had a thing in their magazine about Black on Track. Today was Irish something or other, and oh boy, we're doing random cutaways again.
We're looking at a chair.
It's quite a nice chair. There's a piece of paper stuck to it. Is the train just empty?
You see, that only
It
one
just
off.
occurred to me. This entire time we've been down the entire train and back, and we haven't seen a single person.
You wonder why they're broke. Nobody rides the train.
And they still run them. Oh, by the way, viewers, if you didn't understand that, before we actually started filming, we started the video a little bit early, and they did a full walkthrough of the train, and there was nobody on board.
Well, he probably got there like in 30 minutes early.
Well, yeah, but
Somebody
there's
had to
still
board
nobody
at
on
that
the train.
station. Otherwise they wouldn't have stopped at the station if they were just doing like a quote-unquote power move.
Power.
Which they really don't need to do on the high-speed line.
But anyway, but yeah, quite a bit of rail fanning. They had number 4 down from the Georgetown Loop, which is their little Davenport engine.
Woo.
They're running that back and forth. Actually, might not be a Davenport. Actually, I forget what it is. Sorry about that. It is actually I want to say Plymouth. Let me check. Oh, it's actually just a GE. Well, that's not interesting. They're in their center cab GE unit. They had a caboose directly attached to the unit, and then 2 coaches. One of which that I rode in was a Chili Line specialty coach. And the reason you could tell this is one of the windows is removed, and they've put in a bay window. And I actually and that was for the conductor because they didn't put caboose on these trains, so they needed a way to look forward and backward.
Mousin.
Yeah. So, I actually got to ride in the conductor's seat of this coach and look out this little cupola that they had. Sorry, not cupola, bay window.
Wasn't the conductor upset that you stole his seat?
No, he was standing on the opposite end of the car, on the opposite end of the car with a microphone.
Calling out all the amazing sights as you drive in a circle.
Pretty much. But
And here is this tree.
yeah, that's most of the personal stuff out of the museum. There is a couple of newsy things like 491 will return to service this summer. It's been having the second half of its restoration done.
Cancer on wheels.
It has a doghouse which I saw being built. They just need to paint the doghouse for the tender. The locomotive currently is under a lot of plastic tarps, and they're taking the asbestos out of the boiler jacketing, which is good.
It's a tarp.
And Wiebold got far too close to it, and now he's gonna die.
I didn't get far too. Again, all the asbestos is like isolated in this big pink. It's like a clear plastic bubble around the boiler of the engine. But yes, I was in close proximity with the asbestos. I mean, we can deal with it. But that's really all the news. 346 is having its yearly mini over.
Just continue, Wiebold.
You guys are all idiots.
Yeah, it's pretty overdone now.
I'm like the one person who's actually talking in the tunnel. Well, I want a point for stop talking in the tunnel.
I'm just waiting to see if Wiebold makes it.
I hate you, Spain.
The last word he got voted.
We just lost the Spanish viewers again.
Again? What, did they join back in the middle?
They gave us another chance. Wiebold, just keep going.
This one has lights, so it must be a long one. Keep going.
Wiebold?
I give up.
Good, thank you.
Spain.
Continue talking.
It's
Okay.
like, for any people who speak Spanish, it's like vosotros, only in Spain.
Okay. Thank you,
Alright.
for that, Dr. TJ.
How is that doctor?
Professor, Captain, I don't know. Something
Captain
TJ. Mr. Dr. Professor TJ? Anyway,
Dr.
that's
Professor.
about all the news out of Golden as well. They're going to be having a couple more SCFD free days. Day Out with Thomas, actually, coming this September, is already sold out, I believe.
Oh, jeez.
It's already sold out.
It's changed since I was a kid. You know, you used to just be able to show up, and it was busy, but now they sell the tickets online, and it's already sold out for all of
Jeez.
September, and they run it, I think, 8 times in September.
Wow.
Yeah, this is apparently a very popular event. And then
Day Out
Polar
with Thomas
Express-
really always is.
Yeah. Although here freakishly so, I mean, at Strasbourg, do they sell out of tickets? I mean, like here it's not even like they're putting the, like they're saying the maximum capacity that 491 can carry on this route is X number of coaches, because
They still run
Just-
two trains. They have to run 2 trains.
yeah.
2 trains.
Well, we can't have that luxury. We only have one track.
They run
And a tiny little circle.
Yeah.
They sell out Percy and Thomas.
Yeah, but you can sell individual seats to tickets and chairs, but there's the trouble with it is 491 can only carry so many passenger cars, and they've designated that you can only do so many loops in a day. And they've calculated that out, so they actually have reached a point where there's so many people going, they have a maximum number of tickets that day that they can sell. And they've already had advanced reservations and sold it out.
Wow.
Question.
Yeah.
Why is there a limit on how many times they can go around the loop?
Probably.
It's just logistical stuff to get it,
Oh.
to get it rotated out. It's about, they go around the loop twice, which is about 15 minutes. But, if you could go around more, but really by that point it just doesn't make much sense because you're not rotating people out.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just not a super long ride that you can have, and having it all calculated out is apparently there's a maximum number. Polar Express, they open for sale in
Trains.
July, I believe. Hey, maintenance trains.
Wait, so how long is this loop though? Like, is it just like a little circle, or
I
like?
think it's a mile. It goes just around the campus.
Oh, because see, when I think of a circle, I think of a circle.
No, it's kind of an oval.
Like a circle, like you can, like it goes around the building,
No.
like that little circle.
No, it's an oval that goes around the perimeter of the museum. They're going to start selling tickets for the Polar Express event in July. They said that one sold out pretty quickly last year as well, so that one they're expecting to sell a lot.
Why do they do Polar Express in July? That kind
You're
of
an
defeats the
idiot.
purpose, doesn't it?
There's
Oh,
Point for
Christmas in
being an
July.
idiot.
okay. They're
point for
beginning
being
to
an
sell
idiot.
tickets in July. They're opening the pre-sale for tickets in July.
Thank you.
Oh, that's not what you said.
No, that's
before.
exactly
That's
what you said.
exactly what I said.
You just interpreted it wrong. I went.
Damn
you said
TJ.
It took me a second of going. Wait, it's in July. No. He's talking about when they're selling the tickets, and then I went, okay, who's gonna call him out on it? It's probably gonna be TJ.
No, because the way he said it, he said, and they started selling tickets for the Polar Express in July. Oh, boom, boom, boom.
Well, they are selling tickets in July for the Polar Express. I thought it was a little bit, as Ellis, Milky, and JDur all got from it, I thought it was a little bit self-explanatory that Polar Express isn't until the winter.
Well, they do a big thing,
Well, that's
like,
because we're
like
smart.
at least around here, they do a big thing that's like Christmas in July. Ooh.
Well, that's
Wow.
because we're smart. TJ.
We've got more stuff in July to do. We've got 4th of July and other SCFD events, I
America.
think. But today was freakishly busy at the museum. They had the free day, so everybody was there.
Freedom.
Not to mention that they had just they were bringing out the coaches, and this is a weekend of the train show, so a lot of the train nuts are out and about.
Camera just went trippy.
And it's the first weekend that they're running full trains for the season. And they had a private birthday party.
Wow.
So,
how big was this birthday party?
Probably 10 or 12 kids.
Wow.
Not a lot, but they rented out one of the caboose on site.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ultimate birthday party, right?
Yeah. Well, not the ultimate, but
pretty
it's
close
up there.
to. It's up there. But yeah, so that was the museum. They've got quite a bit of news out of them just because I went up and finally visited them for the first time in I think 11 or 12 years now. Probably.
Interesting.
I'm not gonna do
11 years.
I stopped myself from making a Frozen reference.
Good.
I know what you were going to say.
Other jurisdictions,
Yeah. San
San Luis and Rio Grande. Durango and Silverton really doesn't have anything, and neither does Cumbres and Toltec, as they're both.
Snow.
Well, Cumbres and Toltec is shut down for the season. Durango and Silverton really doesn't have very much that goes on in the winter. San Luis and Rio Grande has its concert trains returning in May for the summer. They've already announced that. And also because I've added the Denver RTD system, or the light rail system, to my jurisdictions, we had 3 light rail accidents in the past 2 weeks.
Oh, dear.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
Oops.
One guy jumped in front of a train, one guy slipped in front of a train, and another car just, I don't know, somehow wound up in front of a train.
Great job, Colorado.
Nobody
Nobody
rear-ended
hit
the
the side
train
of the
this
train.
week. Huh?
I've seen videos of just cars plowing into the sides of trains.
Yeah, I've seen that
What do you
too.
think, the train's
Nobody's-
gonna move?
Yeah. Nobody's
Move
managed
it,
to
get
match
out the
stupid-
way.
But yeah, that's basically all from my jurisdiction this week. But really, this was just the big week for the museum because they opened March 7th. DJ,
Wow.
DJ not there.
I'm sitting right here.
Point for
And,
missing the segue.
I got the segue.
No, you didn't, because you didn't do anything.
No, because I don't really...
Point to TJ for not getting the
No.
thing, and point to JDur for pointing it out.
No, I got the segue. I
Whoa.
just didn't say anything.
Then what?
Like, I-
Why?
Then you didn't get it. You were supposed to say something. Your
Great,
thing.
more random cutaways to
Strasburg
the
Railroad
ceiling.
open March 7th. He goes March 7th. You're supposed to go also on March 7th. Da 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 da.
I even went as far to say your name.
See, like, I was,
You were
You
I
were
was like-
dumb. That's what you were. Now please do your jurisdiction.
What? No, I was like, I was trying to make it so it didn't sound stupid.
I don't care what you were like. Just go.
You're still staring at the roof for whatever reason. Just engineers, and you're like, I'm so bored.
No, there's another guy in there sitting there driving the train, and he's just like tripping balls, like walking around the
Single
train.
engineer, I think it's just the
Right,
one.
TJ.
Maybe he's on acid
Strasburg.
or something.
It's like, whoa, man, look at the sun.
Look at this.
There's a big light in the sky. Maybe that's why I was playing with the lights earlier. I thought it was the sun.
His eye is
I
bald.
can turn up the sun, man.
TJ.
These roof vents, man.
I like how he's
Strasburg.
interposed the thing. Now this is like an acid trip now.
It's like some epic movie time lapse.
Yo,
or
Ellis,
something.
we should just put the
Play like
the
dramatic.
acid-
Dun, dun.
we should have just
Shush,
put the acid trip mod on loop.
Go on with
Another
your thing.
guy's hand.
So yeah, as of today, March 7th, conveniently, Strasburg
It's
has,
actually yesterday.
gone
'cause
back-
This comes out tomorrow.
well, yeah, whatever. It is back to its regular schedule. Well, not
Ooh.
regular. It's like reduced service schedule because snow.
Polar vortex.
So like they have regular trains every day, but they're just 11, 12, or they're just 12, 1, and 2. Not like 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then on the half hour, like in the summer.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
So, yeah.
Guys, I'm so high right now looking at this train.
he's interposed his lap on the screen.
No, I think that's just
Can't
the
tell
reflection
what
from the
I'm
window.
looking at.
Damn
That's
nice
his
lap.
reflection.
It's not a reflection on the
wipers.
window because you could see his hand reaching across
The
it.
window is
ago.
not dirty,
That's
sir.
that's a windshield wiper.
That's a wiper.
The window is not dirty.
That is a wiper, actually.
That's not his hand.
Now he's just so bored he's playing with the wipers.
On, off, on, off, on,
Click,
off,
click,
on,
click,
off.
click, click.
Title.
Is he unconscious? Oh, there it is. Okay, Milky, assign jurisdictions.
It's raining so hard right now.
One of my jurisdictions supporting the Western has gotten two new cheapy 40s. One is from some company down in California, I think. I think it's of that heritage. And one is just a Wiebold from Washington that they were having rebuilt. And someone donated to, but it says on their Facebook page, but someone donated 1,000 and
Skeleton, yeah.
$1,800 to fire up 6 Evans.
Woo.
And speaking of that, they've been working on the boiler rafting and whatnot.
50,000 watts of power.
Okay.
DJ.
We should do like the Team Nice Dynamite thing at the beginning of something.
Maybe at the beginning of Terminus Live when we can do it.
Yeah, when we can do it in sync. That's what I was thinking.
Terminus Live coming this June.
Yeast.
Right, Milky 611.
Well, they've been doing boiler rafting and whatnot. That's all I have from them.
What have they been doing?
Boiler rafting.
Oh, I thought you said border lapping. I was like, what is that?
You're trying to cross the border.
They're doing it's Mexican Olympics. See how many times, how many laps you could do across the.
Insert 4 for 49.
Terrible.
Insert 4 for 49 and tough guys going across the border.
So it's like 4449 is the train of death.
The 1,000 mile dash. You cross the border from Mexico, and if you make it to Canada, you win.
We're switching tracks.
1,000-mile dash. We're taking the exit. We get to miss the tunnel.
That's not even a tunnel. That's just an overpass.
No.
Wow. Okay,
Spain.
JDur, you got anything for your jurisdictions? Your local
Wait,
stops?
no, I'm not
Oh
done.
yeah,
You're
I
not done
finally
yet?
have some stuff.
I'm not done.
All right.
Damn it.
Talk
Hold it,
quicker.
go.
I never thought I'd have to tell you that.
Wow.
Albany Eastern is holding some spring break excursions on the 21st,
He just ran a red signal.
and Troy nights.
He's killed us all.
I'm probably going to be on a few.
No, an error occurred on my video. Oh no.
Well,
if you want to meet Milky
TJ's no longer
Penguin,
in sync.
go on Albany in the Eastern excursion friend.
Stop.
And I have some news from Oregon Rail Heritage Foundation that isn't about 4449 or 700.
What?
It's about
Someone tell me where they are.
No.
It's about
Between Barcelona and Madrid.
No, like time wise.
That deserves a point. I'm sorry.
57-25.
All right,
but anyways,
57, 27. I'm assuming now.
35.
yeah, blah blah blah. Back to the trains.
57.
Okay.
What? 58. Just tell me when it gets to 58.
Blah blah blah.
Let's go back to where the trains live.
Yeah.
Okay, TJ's out of sync. We all have to go back to the beginning and start the podcast
Yeah,
over.
okay. Start the podcast.
No.
Starting
We
everything.
gotta stop the train.
Whoa.
Stop the train!
We're going over to the
slowing
other side
down.
of the tracks.
We're going to
Right.
the other side of the tracks.
We're going back to where engines live.
Yeah.
Like-
Now we are in line for a head-on.
Okay.
Yes.
Head on. Apply directly.
Speaking
to
of
the
where
forehead.
engines live,
Yes.
the Midwest Railway Preservation Society up in Cleveland
JDur, I'm not
is
done.
having a fundraiser for their roundhouse restoration.
He wasn't done.
Shush, Milky.
All right, tell me when you get to an hour.
I was gonna take off a point for JDur doing a segue really well, but Milky wasn't done.
Ugh. Damn it.
JDur.
damn it.
Okay, gosh, I have something to talk about that I don't usually talk
Okay, you already gave him another one.
Okay,
Tell me when you get to an hour.
197's latest work is prepping the
Please,
piston
somebody please.
and the air pump and the shafts.
JDur, can you tell me when they get to an hour?
Can you stop
Sure.
interrupting Milky? Jesus Christ.
Man, I'm trying to talk about a specific and you just.
I want to get to my stuff.
The shafts have been cleaned up, and the cylinders have been inspected. The air pump assembly will start soon. Good to see that they're doing stuff to the 197.
Yes.
Alright, I give up. I just X'd it out.
Alright.
Okay.
Well,
JDur.
Yeah.
and there's a map.
Going back to where, engines live and stuff, the Midwest Railway Preservation Society up in Cleveland is
I don't think that's where
having
they
a
live.
fundraiser for their roundhouse restoration.
Now, TJ. Hour now.
Oh, I just X'd it out.
Let me talk.
You're dumb. We've gone over this, but
But basically, according to the website, they need $150,000 to, restore and rebuild the rest of their roundhouse. And donate to these guys, please.
please.
And they also, I've mentioned this before, but they also have a Grand Trunk Mikata number 4070, and they need $350,000 to get that up and running. So donate to that.
Ladies and
everything.
gentlemen of the Terminus podcast, welcome to Rio Segre.
Rio
Thanks for
Segway.
riding
Let me,
commuter rail.
let me know when it gets to an hour and a minute.
Now. Train.
Oh, who would have thought we'd see a train while we're riding the rails? Anyways,
Wait up for an Ernest.
All right. And then, moving south from Cleveland to the Age of Steam Roundhouse,
woo.
they finally had some new stuff.
Yes.
Good.
Stuff.
Yeah, they went to the, a few of them, the members of the Age of Steam Roundhouse went to this auction. I don't know where it was. And they got a bunch of cool stuff, like,
I probably wanted an illegal monopoly.
sure,
I think I know why it was going to be sold anyways.
whatever, but, they got a bunch of machinery, and I want one of these now. They got a Cushman electric cart.
But they
what?
Hang on, here's the...
At the Age of Steam Roundhouse?
Hang on, here's the thing.
Push a
It's like
Cushman electric
It's the
car.
third picture. It's the little green cart.
Cush.
Yeah, but the reason why.
My gosh, it's adorable.
I know.
What on earth are you for?
For, carrying people and parts around.
Oh,
2,
It's
3. Cushman electric cart.
Is this everything that they bought at the auction?
No, they bought the cart, and then, a bunch,
Yes, they bought
tools
They
and
bought the depot.
That's why I was in such
They
shock.
didn't buy the
I'm like,
depot.
wait a second.
Oh my
But-
god, that's so pointless.
But whatever, they
You're
bought
so
the cart. They bought...
Oh!
Or, not,
Did they buy the
And-
tool house?
oh no.
no. But yeah, they built a new tool house out of bricks.
Yes. Glorious Baconic
And they-
architecture.
And they also built a new depot out of bricks. And, this new depot is sort of the, the public office for everything. So when they, in the summer, they're going to be starting scheduled guided tours.
I think I should go.
Woo. Yeah, I want to go.
It's only
Details.
like, it's only like 10 hours drive from my house.
It's about maybe an hour from me. Gotta love living in Amish paradise.
Living in Amish paradise.
Well, yeah, but
But
if
yeah,
you're truly in Amish paradise, it's not an hour drive. It's like 3 hours cart and buggy.
Whatever. Horse and buggy.
Cart and buggy.
Whatever.
There it is.
Yeah, on a cart and buggy, there's no propulsion. Cart and
Not going to
buggy.
get very far on a cart and buggy.
Well, unless you
Uphill both ways.
you could Fred Flintstone it. You know.
No, it's the Cushman electric cart pulling a buggy.
Yeah, but then it's about a 50-hour skid.
No, yeah, it's the Cushman cart pulling a buggy.
It's the Cushman. Cush.
But details for the tours TBA
Avenger?
to be announced. And then last summer, I confused why they didn't cover this earlier, but last summer,
Yeah, JDur, you remember everything.
one of my favorite locomotives that they have there, CPR 1293.
CP.
Got to run out on the road a few times. The most significant run was a fundraiser staged for the Wolstein Experience, a European, Polish?
Wolfstein?
On a, yeah. Hang on,
be
here's
German.
I think it's like German, English, and I think it's got some Poland in there somewhere.
It's an interesting mix.
Wow.
But,
Julius has
here's
hit
the
a new
site.
low.
But, yeah,
The light, it burns us.
members of this thing,
Poland.
I guess. Yeah, members of this, went to America, toured several.
Gauge.
Calm down.
Okay, so want to hear something?
No.
Julius has hit
Shut up.
an official
TJ,
new
shut
low.
up.
Shut up.
TJ, shut up. Shut up. I have more to talk about.
Talk about
But members from this society, toured several steamer operations in the East. They went to the Age Steam Run House as their last place, and the run was like a fundraiser for them.
It's
That's about it for the
unfortunate
Age
that they-
Steam Run House, and then moving south even more towards Cincinnati, the Lebanon, Mason, and Monroe Railroad has their 2015 excursion schedule listed and ready to roll. Yeah, and apparently, they have a bunch of cool stuff, and I don't know why they have. I guess they have a contract with PBS. They have a Curious George train, a Super Y train, and a train ride with Clifford.
Oh god.
Why?
I don't know.
Super
Why?
Y.
Red signal.
Thank you, Ellis.
That's a
Super-
point.
I was really hoping nobody would do that.
Wait, what did he say?
That's a point.
I said, why would you do that? And he said, super why.
Oh, ha, boo.
I gave myself a point. I'll
Get off the stage!
I'll see myself out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't get it.
But
Why would you... like,
and then moving
that's just
northwest
shameless.
from Lebanon, new jurisdiction. Why didn't I not do
Northwest
this
from
earlier?
Lebanon,
The
somewhere
Fort
in
Wayne
Iran.
Railroad Historical Society.
Woo.
I have two things for them.
Tender dick.
Because you're stupid.
First, the Copycats, aka
No,
the
short
Roundhouse podcast made by the At the Rail Yard guy. I can never remember his name.
It's not even a copycat. It's
So,
it's like a better rendition.
Wow.
Shut up.
Point for criticizing
point.
the Terminus.
But
You-
it's true.
You don't
isn't it?
turn your
Train.
back.
No.
You don't turn your back on your friends, TJ.
Oh, it's one of the double trains.
It's another double train bow.
It's another double train boom.
But, I'm not going to talk about that because that's their own deal.
Okay, well.
Oh, no,
Ellis.
actually, we should have.
Hey, I have one more thing.
Ah.
But, at the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society, apparently the city of Fort Wayne is planning this thing called Headwaters Junction, which is pretty much, like a tourist attraction in Fort Wayne. And from the drawing, it looks like, from the drawing in the article, it looks like it's going to be,
Engine.
pretty much Indiana's Age of Steam Run House, except with less engine.
Less engine.
Let me link the thing.
I'll just ask you for
Wait,
it
are-
later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
But yeah, it's pretty much it'd be like the base of the base of operations for the
I think
This is
every
historical society.
every state needs a
Oh my god, such speed.
roundhouse.
We have one.
Yeah, well,
We-
We have several.
you
we
have
have
are
some-
any? Sorry, I should say a mainline connected roundhouse.
We do.
We have one.
Yeah,
We have none.
Shut up.
we had
Anyway.
4. Somehow.
We had I don't know.
Oh,
how
no. We have one. Yeah. We have the thing. We have two actually. We have the thing in Pueblo and the thing in Lincoln Yard.
See Pueblo. Sorry,
In Columbus, there
I
are
say
at least
I say
six.
roundhouse. I keep having to get more specific because I wasn't clear enough. What I mean is every state should have some sort of steam locomotive servicing thing, so that when you take a locomotive, when you take a steam locomotive from place to place, you always have somewhere to park it. You know,
Yeah.
a state should have at least
Yeah,
one.
instead of just leaving it in a yard.
Yeah.
Now we're just looking
Like-
at the lights. The lights
So
again.
high, man.
It's the sun, man. I can control the sun by pushing the button.
Yeah,
My
but
question is, if he's back here in the coach, who's driving the train?
The engineer is driving
Another
the train.
guy.
He is
No,
the
it's on-
engineer.
No, he's not.
No, there's two. There's two.
no, it's on autopilot. No, he programmed it to have AI. Except it's
That AI.
except
Guys,
this
I'm-
is smarter than trains, and it doesn't just.
Guys,
F up.
I'm so high.
We're all
All right,
dead.
RPO
Wait,
car.
so you're saying that he programmed it with AI, so it's gonna start, it's gonna stop suddenly, change
Maybe,
track,
I don't know.
run in reverse.
Anyway, RPO car.
RPO car. Moving on to the news.
Whoa!
news.
We've got something kind of odd, actually. I entitled it
More things with
Amtrak.
portals.
I entitled it Amtrak and Sludge. Yeah, there's more things with portals, more thinking with portals, except this is a bridge called Portal. It is a swing bridge. It's in Bergen County in where? New Jersey. Is it New Jersey?
The portal.
Georgia.
Jersey.
It looks like, sounds like New Jersey. And the bridge is over 100 years old, and just about the only thing it has to swing open for anymore is a sludge tanker, which is all of the waste. All of the waste from the county gets funneled to this water treatment plant, and that gets
Oh no.
quote unquote refined and put into this tanker, and then the tanker takes the sludge somewhere else.
Oh no.
So
Mother of God.
because the bridge is 100 years old, when the bridge fails, and it does often, either it's stuck open and the trains on the Northeast Corridor stop, this is a very busy bridge, or the sludge stops flowing. And when the sludge stops flowing,
Constipation.
things get, basically sewer system constipation.
You can unclog that with some bran from Branville.
It's
Bran,
bad.
dude.
So,
Honestly, I think more bran is the least thing the people of this town need. if that were to happen.
no, they need,
Yeah.
they
think
don't
it's the
need
last thing
Activia.
Uh,
So yeah.
oh,
It is. It has two independent systems, and these tend to break down. A new bridge is likely to cost about $1 billion because of where this bridge is. Because of the criteria you need, you're either going to be building another drawbridge that can hopefully last another 100 years, or you're going to be regrading an enormous section of track to get over the river high enough so that the sludge tanker can get underneath.
which when it's the Northeast Corridor is no bueno.
Yeah, it's not so much that's the trouble, it's just the act of regrading and the needing to reroute or shut down will be very detrimental for both the Northeast Corridor and the sludge tanker.
Or tanker.
But
Sludge.
one of the guys whose jobs it is to keep an eye on the portal bridge, or not keep an eye on, just somehow live his life around the bridge. Actually, sorry. This guy is. No, it doesn't actually say. Either way, he goes, I've been here 32 years and the bridge has been a problem the whole time. We just deal with it. One way or another, we have to get the sludge out of here. So,
Yeah.
as the portal bridge continues to deteriorate, Switway figures he'll just keep improvising until he retires. So the bridge isn't getting any better, obviously. And it's a problem now, and it's going to become a worse problem sooner rather than later.
It could think of
$1
them.
billion on a new bridge, huh? Who's got $1 billion to blow?
$1
Definitely not the government.
Definitely not the government. Why is my link to the Reddit thread instead of the article itself? Because speaking of the government, but something to note when speaking of railroads and of oil trains, mostly regarding the derailment that happened last week, relates directly to this. President Barack Obama has vetoed the Keystone Pipeline, and the Senate was unable to gain the majority it needed to overturn the veto, so the Keystone XL is not going to be built.
Oh.
Now, this... Hey, achievement! Train Fever achievement. Okay, so... This is a discussion topic, of course. Stop that. I just want to get out there that the idea of the pipeline is kind of neutral to me. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with a pipeline existing, of course. It's not the thing. Where they wanted to put it was something that I had a little bit of a beef with, because they were... basically, it was a Canadian company using eminent domain to take American territory and Native American territory to build this thing which wouldn't directly benefit us. Because it's not an American company. I mean, of course, there are multinational companies, so it's not so cut and dry and black and white, but either way, the idea of the pipeline existing wasn't a problem for me.
Yeah. As a discussion point, I don't think I'm really able to take a side on it. I'm really not educated on the whole Keystone XL thing. If anything, by the way it's sounding, I'd almost be in favor of the pipeline, because oil prices, even if it is Canadian, having more flow of oil domestically and on this continent is bueno.
Yeah, it's true.
To basically just stick it to the Middle East, to put it frankly.
The alternative is of course, having more oil trains, and with the refinement laws that I talked about last Terminus going into effect at the beginning of April, I believe. The back and crude, which is what's causing the explosive derailments as of late, because apparently people aren't able to learn from that and either ship things properly or refine things properly.
Oh God.
Yeah, I talked about one last Terminus, and Nokia has one for this Terminus.
Wasn't there one also a while ago?
There have been plenty. It's
Hello Bar.
This stuff,
welcome to Below Bar.
Back and crude, as I talked about, is just ridiculously volatile, especially for crude oil. So, it's the kind of thing where you do it right, or, you know. Although, frankly, that begs the point, I'm not entirely sure if back and crude would have been allowed to be shipped in a pipeline anyways.
Probably not.
It'd be interesting to see, honestly.
If
one little screw up, boom, whole town goes away.
Yeah, because Ellis, I can hear you trying to say, because if ethanol can't be shipped in the pipeline for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious. I forgot to look that up earlier, but for the viewers, earlier at the museum, I saw a picture of a tanker, and it had a plaque on it saying, this car carries ethanol because it can't be transferred in a pipeline. And we're all kind of curious as to why it can't be transferred in a pipeline.
Well,
I thought it might
probably
be
because it's too volatile.
I was thinking of it from more of a technical thing, like it can't be it compresses too easily or something, and you can't get enough pressure to move it. I'm not sure though.
No, because if I'm not sure how well it scales up. Frankly, I don't think it scales up very well. But if you can move it in a pipe, you can move it in a pipeline.
Why would you put it in? Why would you? What? Why would you have a pipeline for milk?
That sounds like an awful idea.
Yeah.
Refrigerated pipelines.
Okay.
So
U.S. ethanol production. All right. I thought ethanol was dead. Honestly, I thought that they kind of killed it.
Ethanol is pretty.
If I'm right, it's made from corn.
From what we do, because corn is a huge part of our economy to make ethanol.
Yay!
Right, but I just thought the petroleum companies had killed it when it had first started coming out.
No, all your gas is 10% ethanol. So it's in there somewhere. Frankly, probably wasn't the best decision anyways, but we decided to push forward with it. And now we
It
have
works.
10%. Now we have 10% ethanol gas.
Woo, corn.
So yeah, woo corn. So
Farm boys.
again, coming back to the
Isn't corn a renewable product as well?
no, once you grow it, you can't do it again.
Why can't? Okay.
Just kidding, of course.
Yeah, I'm not
So-
going to go into detail.
So, something else I should mention about the Keystone Pipeline. People were all up in arms because this is quote-unquote the last third is Keystone XL. But the last third doesn't mean they built point from A to B, and they built point from B to C, and they're working on point from C to D to connect the whole thing. No. The first two-thirds are built, and they connect to one another, and they are functional. This third would be a branch of the pipeline.
Okay,
So-
I found why ethanol can't be transported in a
Why is it?
pipeline. It's most higher octane fuels, and why they can't be transported in a pipeline, and honestly why people are hating on the oil trains is because whenever they derail, they're carrying the higher octane stuff because it can't be in a pipeline.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is it is extremely prone to absorbing water. And they've said that as of recent, especially in areas where climate fluctuation is big, basically like the entirety of the United States.
I can see where it's going.
Yeah, water is it's easy for it to settle in pipelines and to even just get into it in the first place, which can in turn, if it gets into a rail car, it's one thing because it destroys 60,000 gallons of it. If it gets into a pipeline, if a large enough amount of it gets in, that's quite another because it's not an isolated incident. A heck of a lot of
you have a breach in the pipeline and just gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons of oil.
You're just ruining as everything is passing. You're ruining it rather than having it be an isolated thing. Again, like one train car having a leak in it.
Yeah, exactly. And train cars can have relief valves and stuff like that, and they can
right. Whereas pipelines have difficulty because of pressure and pumping issues and stuff like that.
Exactly.
You know what, I'll be honest. I'm really liking the rail cam idea and everything and doing this cab ride type theme. Although the Spain camera's really kind of bumming me out.
It's just not what you'd hoped for.
It's really not that scenic.
No, it's killing us.
It's kind of dull. It's just ugh.
Yeah,
it looks like you're going across a kind of some exotic version of Kansas, which for whatever reason to me just doesn't seem.
Oh, because it's not in black and white.
It might be the agoraphobia. Honestly, I'm not liking the big wide open spaces really that much. But
we should if
we should go for the really slow one next episode. Then let's go back to the Canada mountain climbing.
Well, it's not even that. There's more ones that we can get in like the middle of Switzerland and Norway and stuff where it's all foresty mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And I say we do that next time. We just did this one because it was fast, and honestly, I think it was because a lot of us knew the name Barcelona and Madrid.
And no, I chose it because we kept arguing over other ones, and I had this one sitting here.
See, I wish, if the Acela one was higher quality.
If the Acela one was actually pointing out the front of the locomotive, that'd be great.
Yeah, because that one fluctuates a lot.
That'd be the perfect one to get. No, that fluctuating a lot isn't the problem. It's the problem that it was sticking out the side window and not the locomotive cab.
Well, no, but he's saying the scenery is variable.
Oh god, he's playing with the wipers again.
That's true. Why?
Click, 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 click.
I'm genuinely interested. Honestly, the view's foggier now than it was 20 seconds ago.
Yeah, I know. Because that's certainly helping.
Ugh, dear.
So, at any rate, the back-end crude is, of course, a very volatile fuel, probably not very pipeline-capable, so it would have to be refined on the spot anyways, and either way that leads to come April 1st, the new legislation comes into effect, I believe, and we'll be getting safer oil trains at least.
Now we're staring at a curtain.
And the rails.
And the rails at the side.
No Keystone Pipeline XL means more of these oil trains, which means more money for
CSX.
More money for CSX and NS and everyone that operates.
So they can pay
in
for a
that area.
giant sponge to clean up that one.
And when it comes to CSX, that also means more exploding.
It's not just CSX, as Milky is going to prove later in the podcast.
Oh boy.
Isn't that right? So, okay, I didn't get to sit down and read this whole thing, but my final bit of news is that bipartisan passenger...
I just looked back at the camera. This really like.
Oh my god!
Tripping balls.
Whoa, train!
Okay, so the bipartisan passenger rail bill. Now, I was originally headlining this as the end of Amshacks with a question mark, and it's not as sudden or as lovely as that title might suggest. The thing I'm thinking about, or the thing that this really does, is on a grander scheme enable Amtrak to operate as a private company as opposed to a government-owned firm. I mean, Amtrak is largely sort of a private company operation deal anyways, but not really.
I can see where this is going, but I already see... Oh, there's a car there.
Yeah.
Problems and advantages with it. I mean, there's obviously still the... there's the advantage that if it was completely privatized, they'd probably be better about timetables and stuff.
It's not privatization, it's just the way it's operating. Of course, you're still going to need a huge amount of government subsidy to get most of the long-range routes workable. But it's about making it less boxed in. For example, eliminate Amtrak losses in food and beverage service. So instead of them taking the hit, it's going to be, I don't know, possibly another firm that's providing the food and beverage service on the trains, and it'll be.
It's funny because they always run out of stuff when I'm on it.
I was gonna say they usually don't have food.
They do when I'm on.
Usually they run out of everything except for like stale Ruffles.
I've never had them run out of anything.
Because that's
I've never seen an Amtrak train.
They're gonna carry
okay.
They're gonna carry
Ohio.
like a business case analysis for major stuff. So instead of just saying, okay, the politicians say do this, let's do this, it's sort of like, let's take a step back and see.
Right, the politicians say do this, but the politicians don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. It's more like the politicians want us to do this, we should look into it.
Right.
And then leverages resources and encourages non-federal participation. Like, this is the Amtrak thing. Creates station development opportunities for the private sector.
Yeah.
That means...
So, basically just create a jobs program through upgrading
actual stations.
That means,
infrastructure.
That means if you want to make a station for Amtrak, if you are a contractor and you want to make a station for Amtrak,
the government will pay
do
you
it.
for... Yeah, the subsidies of the government in this Amtrak, this new Amtrak rule, for lack of a better term, will allocate funds for you to build a station if you would like.
That's not an Amtrak.
Time we are in the
that doesn't stink.
And partnerships with...
Do you want me to find the Amtrak picture?
Partnerships with states, as opposed to with the federal government, allowing them to do big infrastructure projects without going directly through the Fed. Working with people on a smaller level. And unlocks an underutilized federal railroad loan program. I don't really know what that is, but it sounds good. If it's underutilized and it's unlocking it, it sounds like we're going to be able to utilize it, and therefore we'll be making the most of our resources.
We really need to keep a close tab on that about which if any stations actually get development out of this thing if it does go through. Honestly, I'm not so sure it'll go through because it's, to put it in basic layton's terms, it's giving the politicians less power, so I'm really not sure if it'll go through.
It's going to be tricky.
I think it would be best for Amtrak because it'll again, if it becomes less government dependent, it probably runs a little bit more like an actual railroad, so it's it's a little bit better about being on time and a little bit better about not being...
Part of that is this bullet down here requires Amtrak to evaluate long-distance routes, improve services, and lower costs. Now, the last two are good. The first one is evaluate the long-distance routes. If you evaluate any of those long-distance routes, you're going to realize, hey, we're losing a lot of money over here.
I was going to say, really, the only Amtrak line that's profitable is...
You got the Northeast Corridor, and you have the Western... the... whatever it's called over there. What the hell are we going into? This is not a tunnel.
That's a cool bridge.
I don't know I didn't know what the heck to count it as. They finally. I still can't tell what
bridge.
it is. It was
a bridge.
Oh.
It was a holy bridge.
Yes.
It's the holy bridge.
It's
a swift bridge.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm a little behind than you guys.
Either way, it looks like good. I'll put it down in the cargoes, of course, so you guys can check it out for yourself. Hopefully,
I mean, honestly, what would be the cons to it? There's really not a lot in it that says.
And it is bipartisan, so this isn't being pushed as partisan legislature, which means that you won't have people voting against it simply to vote against it.
Right.
Which is a big problem.
Good.
Yeah. You know.
Which is, thank God. Modern politics, you really, really suck.
Yeah, and of course, the people who would ever think about fixing that don't want to go within a mile of politics. Why? Because it's terrible.
Right. The only people that understand how to fix politics don't want to get involved in politics because they consider themselves to the point where it's a waste of time.
It is, because you're surrounded by...
It's a pompous, egotistic waste of time.
I'm surrounded by idiots. That sort of thing.
Exactly.
And not only that, if you call yourself a Democrat, the Republicans are all going to hate you. If you call yourself a Republican, the Democrats are all going to hate you. If you call yourself...
And it's automatic.
Wait. If you call yourself something else, nobody listens to you.
Right.
So
it's not even that anybody doesn't like you. Just nothing ever happens, ever. Oh, great. We're back to the ceiling. Oh, now we're upside down.
Do a barrel roll.
I can't tell where we're looking.
This guy is really having fun with his camera angles.
Oh, look, there's a bald guy.
That's the engineer.
Okay, that is the engineer. Why is there a bald guy?
Because he's driving the train.
Okay, why are we looking at the back of his head?
Would you rather look at Thomas the Tank Engine?
Yes.
Good. Tell me about
I would
it.
Actually. Okay. I was gonna. Okay. So, big news out of Hit Entertainment this week. A lot of you will know that these are the producers of the new Thomas the Tank Engine series. They have been since 2003. Big news out of them and the franchise as a whole this week. This week, the franchise celebrated its 70th anniversary. The original Railway Series book, Three Railway Engines, being released 70 years ago in 1945.
Jesus!
Yeah. Like, pretty much all generations of railfan currently could have, in their lifetime, had some exposure to the Railway Series. That actually is another point that I'll talk to you about later, Ellis, with why the UK has more rail fans.
Oh, it's not just about being robbed. You know, it's funny, this comes up
it
when
has to
JDur's
tie
on
in
the
with the
podcast
generational thing. Out here, the current adults didn't have any exposure. Over in the UK, they had the Railway Series books were extremely popular.
Also,
so that's why rail fanning in the UK is very present, and that's why in the future of the US, it'll look a lot more like the UK does currently. Hopefully.
Also, let me pull on that for a second and point out that going back to Eisenhower and him being a great guy, but also creating the interstate highways, in the age where our parents were growing up, it was automobile. It was, classic cars and city lights and that stuff. It wasn't take the train somewhere.
Right. It wasn't at the point where it was part of life, and it wasn't at the point where it was nostalgic.
Yeah.
It'd be like us looking back on brick phones and just saying, ew.
Yeah.
Because they're not old enough to be antiques, and they're not new enough to be worth anything.
Yeah, I mean, it might have nostalgia for, like, our first phone, but,
It's, yeah. Yeah.
I definitely don't give a damn about mine.
Right.
Flip phone.
I'm slipping in a flip, I'm slipping in a flip, I'm slipping in a flip. Yeah. Anyway.
Alright, the adventure begins.
Yes, of course, Hit Entertainment released as their tribute to both the Reverend Wilbur Awdry, his son Christopher Awdry, and the Thomas & Friends franchise as a whole. They released their new movie called The Adventure Begins, which basically details the quote-unquote beginning of the beginning of the stories and everything. And frankly, I think they did a great job with it. I don't think they could have done much better with it, actually. The story
That's high praise coming from Wiebold.
That is high praise, especially for considering what I've said about Hit Entertainment before being basically incompetent.
Shit entertainment.
Yeah. Basically being
But wait, family friendly.
Right.
Do families even watch this podcast?
Nobody
I
watches
hope
this
not.
podcast.
I really hope. Yeah. But
Everyone.
there's basically the story is 70-year-olds. Is 70-year-olds? What?
What?
The story in and of itself is
What you been
basically 70
watching?
years old. It's basically as old as the franchise. The plot of the movie is a fairly loose, fairly tight stringing together of the original 8 stories of the first 2 books of the Railway series, the 3 Railway Engines and Thomas the Tank Engine. They've all kind of been strung together in this special, and there were times where you could see that it was an individual story and times where it was pretty worked as an overall plot. But they did really well with it, actually. They had a few references to the mainland itself, which they haven't talked about in a while because a lot of people forget that Vickerstown connects to England. This isn't just in the middle of nowhere, it's England.
Yeah, more or less. Is it double? No, it's just one.
No, just the one.
It's train singular.
It's actually a Talgo train.
Beep.
Beep.
But
Beep, beep.
We need to talk about merchandise later. Remind me.
Talk about merchandise.
Yes.
Terminus makes it.
It's a Eurostar.
In what section are we talking
This is
about?
Spain.
I'll talk
guys.
about the Terminations.
Yes,
Okay.
Spain is in Europe, Einstein.
Yeah, but that's not. The Eurostar doesn't run in Spain. It runs in England. Back to Wiebold.
To thank you for derailing the story and then segueing back to it. Okay.
You're
Anyway,
not supposed to point out the segues.
well, he did derail it on purpose and then go back to it.
Yeah, well, that doesn't give you an excuse.
I was correcting TJ and then I rerailed it.
You're not supposed to correct TJ. We already know he's an idiot.
Oh,
Well,
right.
I thought Eurostar ran. I thought Eurostar ran through all of Europe, hence the name Eurostar, not
It doesn't.
England Star.
England
goes between
Star.
England
It doesn't
and
just
France
go to
through the
England.
channel.
The American Transcontinental Railroad didn't run coast to coast.
Well, it ran transcontinental.
No,
it didn't.
It ran California to
connected.
somewhere in Missouri, I believe.
St. Louis?
Nebraska.
St. Louis, thank you.
No, Nebraska.
It went over the Mississippi River. Well, actually, for a while, it didn't even do that.
For a while it stopped because Mississippi
For a while,
River
it
is
just
a big
stopped
river.
at the Mississippi. And we're in a...
Wiebold, continue with
Oh.
your assessment of the movie.
Okay. I can't remember. Oh, yeah. They had some references to, like, crew works where everything was built. They had some more references to engines themselves, paint schemes. One of them has wood brakes. I think it's James that has wood brakes in the movie, and that's a big plot point.
Wasn't that always a big plot point? Like they would catch on fire and James would fail, and I always hated James.
Yeah.
Wow. He's a
He
mogul.
was always my least favorite of the steam engines. He and the main antagonist, actually, James isn't in this book a lot like the original book.
By the way,
Because
spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't seen it. Just might want to point that out.
Sorry, I forgot to point that out earlier. Yes, there are spoilers in this.
If
in the story-
if you don't want to hear spoilers, I will put up Pot Manley when he's done. So keep an eye on the video and mute it.
Okay. So as soon as Pot Manley comes up, then you can unmute the video. But
Yes.
anyway, shoot, I forgot. Oh yes.
James.
Yes, in the story itself, because in the original 2 books there wasn't a diesel, and James wasn't super pompous at the time because he wasn't a big character. The main antagonist of the special is Gordon,
I would
which
kind of figure that.
yeah, that's how it originally was. In the original book, Thomas wasn't even in it; it was between Edward and Gordon, and that's basically the first 10 minutes of the movie, I think. But it's a loose adaptation of the first 2 books. It is really good. Say what you will about the CGI. I know JDur hates it. Honestly, I love it. I think it looks beautiful. It looks better
I like
than
the
the models ever
CGI.
could.
It's just, it's just when they first started the CGI.
It's
Yeah, but they
different.
get better.
Like when they had the models and then the CGI faces.
Yeah, it's certainly different, but I think the CGI is just so pretty, and they do things that you could never do. They do a
Yeah.
lot of very interesting scenes with it. There's the human characters specifically that have a lot more lines and do a lot more like indoors because they can actually do it more efficiently. Exactly. That was another thing I need to talk about in a sec. And then of course at the very end, here's a big spoiler. The crash scene at the very end where the brakes do catch on fire and he goes down a hill, comes around a corner and rolls off the corner.
And explodes!
In CGI, the crash scene is actually really cool looking. Like we've got a map again. We're about
Wiebold,
halfway.
Thomas and Friends, directed by Michael Bay.
But it was great. One of my favorite things with it was their big thing for their movies is they'll do a big musical score, and for this one they did 2 songs from the original series.
Ooh. That's it.
They did, yeah. They didn't do a lot, but at the same time, it's still.
No, wait. Were there more songs than 2, or did they just do 2 songs?
They just did 2 songs from the original series.
Songs did they do?
They did. Well, they did 2, 3-ish. They did Really Useful Engine, which they played once when he first got there. Then they did the Troublesome Truck song, which came later in the original series. I don't personally remember it from my childhood.
I do.
Neither do I.
And then they did a reprise of Really Useful Engine at the very end that had the actual lyrics. The first one was different because they hadn't reached, and now he's got a branch line to pull his. At that point in the special, he didn't have one, so they had to change the lyrics. And then at the end, they actually did the one with the real lyrics in it.
Okay.
This is a nice station. I like it.
There were cons with it, like wow, this is a big station.
Yeah,
it's quite bright.
Yeah, son,
It's quite bright. It's rather artsy. But there were problems with it, of course, because, no one's without sin. Honestly, Britt Allcroft did this a lot, too. There was a heck of a lot of merchandising stuff in it. There are characters that could be not there. There's characters that more or less shouldn't be there. I understand that they're basing it off of the stories, and that's why Gordon was there, but technically in the timeline, Thomas would have been there before Gordon.
What?
Yeah, that's slight timeline hiccup that kind of flaws the special fundamentally.
Oh well.
They had a few characters. Yeah, they had a few characters that were kind of useless, although they really didn't have that many new ones. Their big merchandising point for this one was all the anniversary stuff with the normal characters in different paint schemes and anniversary editions.
Mm-hmm.
They had 3 new characters, I believe. 2 of which remind me a heck of a lot of 2 of Ellis's characters in ZT.
Yes.
And they are, at long last, I was wondering if, in the original series when I watched it as a kid, I wondered if they would ever make a character out of this. They're the breakdown train. They're not the big, stupid, flashy red crane that they have in the new series that's all cartoony and, modern, really. It's the original breakdown train, and it has a personality. And the 2 of them, the dynamic between the 2 of them is absolutely hilarious. I really enjoyed them as characters. Unfortunately, they don't get a lot of screen time, but what they do is very purposeful, and it plays into the story pretty well. And then the other character that they got, I really don't get why he was there. If anything,
the Allegheny.
No, he's never appearing in the series. Thank God.
Damn it.
Not.
He was just there for merchandising. That's the other thing that they've started doing recently is they'll have things that are just for merchandising.
That's really disappointing. I wanted to see the Jolly Green Giant dick.
No, that's fantastic. You should see the wooden model. It looks even more like it. It's fantastic though because they don't ruin the series by adding all these pointless merchandising things, but they can still get their merchandising money. But
someone's not printing the dead man's
the character that the character that they had that was pretty much pointless was at the very, very, very end. He only appeared for, I think, 3 or 4 lines. His name is Glenn. He's a vertical boiler engine.
Woo!
That they referred to him a couple of times earlier in the special, why am I number 1? Does that mean, I'm the best, when he's all hoity-toity and happy and, pompous and ignorant, basically? Yeah, why am I number 1? Does that mean I'm the best? No, the original number 1 was a coffee pot, and what's a coffee pot? It's an engine with a vertical boiler and stuff like that. and they finally see him, and he's like shunted into a siding at this station out in the country, and he kind of has this. No, well, more or less, he's
oh
filled
god,
with holes, and there's like lines growing through him and everything. But there's a brief dialogue shared between the two of them. Although really, I don't think I'd count him as a character like they did, especially considering they've done a lot of merchandising off of him. He really wasn't there for much. I did a little bit more research on the coffee pots. They were actually designed by Sir Stephen Topham Hatt, which is exactly the guess. Is that a train off in the distance? Wouldn't Jolly Green Giant? Oh dear. Yep. That face.
Wait, Ellis, did you move the picture?
Yeah, I put it up on the screen. Alright. How close are we to being done about this? We've been, although I'm not sure too many people are going to care that much.
Yeah,
They've come to expect this.
Yeah, it was just good. I really did like it. Paying homage to both the original series and the Reverend Wilbur Awdry. They did a really nice job at the anniversary. They didn't do a lot of their tropes. It was very well written. The voices weren't obnoxious. The voices were quite nice and quite fitting. There were a couple of times where they spoke a little bit slowly and the dialogue was a little bit awkward. But it's a kid's show. You can kind of expect that stuff to be clunky. And that's really all I have on it. It was great. I'd really recommend seeing it for any long-term fan of the show. It really is just a really great tribute to what a fantastic franchise that is not only...
Or even a short-term fan of the show. Or even someone who's never heard of it before and has somehow stumbled upon this podcast in the vast ways of the internet. And doesn't know who Thompson Friends is.
If you happen to be a senior that is...
And has never seen an Amtrak train before.
If you're a senior citizen that happens to be a rail fan and just adept at the internet and for some reason you've stuck with us this long, check it out. It is a kid show, but it's because they tend to be more rail fans.
Well, yeah, but never mind.
I don't know. Anyone, I'd really recommend it, especially considering it's played such a gigantic role in all of our childhoods here. Really, it's the reason why we are rail fans. And it really is the reason that the rail fanning community has survived as long as it has, why it's expecting to make such a comeback. Thank you, Entertainment, for such a fitting entertainment to really what is the community of rail fanning now, what is its future, and what has been its past for 70 years.
We're not shit anymore.
Well...
On to TJ, but I think he's gone.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you've just
I brought up Pop mainly so everyone can...
Okay.
Can know to get back to the podcast if they hadn't wandered off for good.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back, nobody.
Spoiler,
TJ's got nothing anyways. Milky.
Oh, hello. State of Indiana Transportation is ending the Hoosier state through this.
So what?
So Amtrak has this really dumb rule
You sound far
about...
away.
What?
Never mind. Continue.
If the ink will ever build up, but they're thinking about abandoning service on that line to Indiana. Because I don't know exactly why they would. Well, actually, they blame the Federal Railroad Administration Act for this closure that states that routes of 750 miles to effectively act as rail carriages. So pretty much.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Routes of 150 miles to act as what?
750 miles to act effectively act as rail carriers.
Rail?
There's a somewhat young, wordy article about it that will be in the Argos if you don't understand me trying to make sense of this.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
I'm really confused.
Yeah.
But go read the article. They're banning service from Chicago to Indianapolis.
I didn't know they were good.
I was gonna say I don't think they have service to India.
What exactly is a rail carrier?
I have no idea, but big and wordy article.
Oh, I see what's going on.
Shares.
I see what's going on. Okay,
Yeah.
because most of the shorter Amtrak routes are more or less profitable, that's, the Northeast Corridor, the Northeast Corridor isn't so short anymore, but compared to the multi-day cross-country routes, it doesn't get... They've decided that only the things that are losing a huge ton of money on the super long-distance service that is required to keep the country running are going to be subsidized. Of course, meaning what they're trying to do is get other people to pick up the torch, like the FEC is doing down in Florida. But I guess it just isn't panning out here, and so they're going to have to shut down service because they probably just won't have the money to do it. And hopefully somebody will come in and... hopefully someone comes in and picks up the torch sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Carry the light.
Go towards the light.
We need a really useful engine.
Swim away! Oh look, krill.
Speaking of, well, it wouldn't be speaking of, but next I have a BNSF train that derailed in...
Boom!
yeah, went to boom in Illinois. In
Oh god, more protesters.
Gila, Illinois, question mark. I'm 100% sure on that pronunciation. But
Wait,
Galena.
where is this?
Probably
Galena.
Galena or Galena.
I think it's Galena.
what? This is in the pronouncing podcast.
Yeah, it's the building podcast.
And these, once again, were those higher standard cars that still can't handle back-end crude, more than likely.
Yeah.
It doesn't say where they came from, but I'm going to assume it was back-end crude. Why? Because regular crude oil cars don't blow up like that.
That's a really common misconception of people. Crude oil really is not that flammable.
I think your microphone is far from your mouth, but... Yeah, crude oil is kind of like tar-ish, actually. It's really thick.
Well, it's like liquid diesel. Just being a liquid, it loses a lot of the flammable validity to it.
It's black and thick.
What?
Oh my.
Anyway, it derailed, it went to Pluto, and BNSF happened.
Great job, Bean Sniff.
Big, noxious, smoking
Bean
fire.
sniff.
Yeah.
What?
I've heard it called that.
BNSF.
By who?
I don't know. Some guy out west. I forget where.
But
It wasn't Milky.
Yeah,
North to buy.
I called them by their actual name, BNSF.
Whatever.
How tomorrow actually moves.
Tomorrow's supposed to move, but sometimes fails at it.
Tomorrow goes, eh?
Put more move.
Anyways, moving on to something brighter than the train derailment. Boston-bound train is
Barely brighter.
Yeah, barely. But anyways, it was a seller traveling to Boston, and they got disabled.
Because snow more than likely knocked out the power, and...
Polar vortex.
Yeah, polar vortex knocked out the power, and because it's an electric train, it's not going anywhere without that power.
Yeah. So, passengers were given glow sticks out of all things. Glow sticks. You know, those things that you can buy at the dollar store or whatever you have. They were given those, and...
Oh, it's better than sitting in the
They weren't
dark.
those kind of glow sticks. They were like actual, legitimate light glow sticks.
Like
emergency glow sticks.
So they give them like flares?
No, not flares. Yes, fire off flares in the train.
And they were stuck for about 2 hours and waited an hour for the rescue train.
Still better than
Rescue
still better than City of San Francisco.
Wait.
I mean, if worst comes to worst, they were right near Mystic, Connecticut, so it's not like
sounded like they were on Donu Pass.
Yeah, exactly. They're not in the middle of nowhere. They were in Connecticut.
But that's for...
Which is far from nowhere.
Connecticut has some nowhere, but it doesn't have a lot of nowhere.
Not on the Northeast Corridor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right along the water. In fact, that's one of the more scenic parts of the NEC is in Connecticut.
Connecticut.
It's one of it's
Connecticut.
some of the only. I think it is the only place in the Northeast Corridor where you still have level crossings. And drawbridges.
Cars get obliterated.
People too.
Turn into a metal mist and a red mist.
Was it okay?
Oh.
Brown
Rigor
mist.
Morton. Rigor mortis. Brown streak.
Nice.
JDur, you got any news?
Yeah, I have two things.
I have one more thing.
Oh, what do you have? Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. You added that, didn't you?
This episode should be called Milky Keeps Getting Interrupted Before He Can Finish.
Yeah, goddamn it.
Alright.
Anyways, it's a blog.
Podcast.
It's a blog post from Fred Pay, which is a blogger on the official Trains magazine website, and he was talking about train modes, railroad merges, and how it looks like total war from here.
Really? It doesn't look like much is going on from my point of view.
I was gonna say, they're really...
GPX,
if anybody tries to do anything, the government's gonna shut them down because it would warrant a monopoly of either coast.
Illegal monopoly.
Or somebody's gonna want to be buddy with CSX, and CSX is gonna be like, nah.
CPX, eh?
Yeah.
CPX, eh? No CPX.
Yeah, but
Speaking of monopoly, we've already got monopolies all over the place. You know, we have Guilford up in Maine and thereabouts. And then words. Okay, never mind.
UP's got like all of California.
Yeah, UP the Dream Crushers have a huge section.
Get ready.
Wait,
I learned how to use cuts, but this one was just too big for a cut.
Use a TJ cut.
That was the short one. The long one's coming up.
Yeah, here's the long one right after it.
anyway,
Catch your breath, guys. We're going in.
Can't catch my breath. We're going like 200 kilometers.
Anyway, it's about.
It's about
Okay.
Okay, we're here. Alright, we can continue. There's no tunnels.
Anyways,
They made it area.
okay, but it's a great article to read.
Good.
Okay, I might look into that actually.
Alright, look into it while we move on to...
Oh, come on!
What?
But we had something.
JDur has something.
Okay, first up. Out in Iowa, there's this little scenic road.
This is your fault,
Scenic
JDur.
Valley. Back in the
That guy.
80s, they ordered a Chinese steam engine.
Ow!
Oh, these are the Iodians.
What?
Uh-oh. I see it in the distance.
Just go, guys.
Quick. JDur, quick.
Okay, but
Oh no! You can't see it coming now.
you know, they bought the engine from
Quickly!
China. It arrived in California. They started lifting the engine out of the boat, and one of the slings that was holding up the engine,
Oh no.
you know, it slipped and bent the cab upward, and then
Oh,
the
no.
engine fell back into the boat.
Right.
Yeah,
I've ever heard
couldn't find any decent pictures, but the video I linked skipped to back 16-ish minutes. There's a whole like segment on it.
Ugh.
Then also follow up on the GAN that Ellis talked about last
Yay,
week.
the old gun.
Yeah, you know, this has, you know, the whole history of it, like how it got the name, the GAN,
Perfect.
which is from, I'm not going to spoil. Okay,
God,
let's move on to,
Let's not,
What's on
because
it?
there's another one real
Who
quick.
cares? Move on.
Fuller.
Oh.
Fine.
In one corner we have...
The Shay locomotive, and in...
Damn it, Wiebold.
If someone's
Tell
listening,
recorder, we have a Heisler locomotive.
if someone's listening to this, they're gonna have and not watching the video, they are gonna have no idea where we just randomly pause,
Like, why are they just all being quiet?
and then somebody busts out laughing. So I don't have the pages for either the Shay or the Hiesler.
Is TJ even here anymore?
I linked it.
Okay, yes, he is.
I
Can
don't
you link
have
it
the
again? I mean, as in give it to me right now, because I can't.
Is that a train ahead of us? Oh no, that I know what that is.
That looks like a long one.
It's another freaking tunnel. Also, that's what you said.
Yeah, the Jolly Green Giant.
Oh yeah.
So, TJ and Milky,
Touch dark.
I don't have the stats.
why don't you have the stats?
We're supposed to find
You were
those.
supposed to be ready.
Milky.
I told
There's
you.
both of them.
I told
This
you to be
website
ready
has
when we
both.
started the podcast 2 hours ago.
This website has both.
Okay.
That is right. We're going on 2 hours out of our 3-hour journey. We very well might get to Madrid.
That should be the goal now.
That should be the goal to time the podcast perfectly so that we pull into Madrid Station and say the train will terminate at Madrid Station.
All right, which will you be doing, TJ? Which locomotive?
5.
5. Okay. Where
I'm
is
doing
the Hiesler? Is it way down?
It's 6.
Oh, it is. I missed it.
I don't care who I'm doing.
Oh, there it is.
There's not a lot, but there's some.
Wiebold, not to say, but we know you're not doing anyone.
Oh!
What?
Granted, nobody here is.
Wait, what?
You don't know that.
Nobody here's doing anyone. Yeah, TJ, you're doing
we
your
do.
Spanish teacher.
Yes, we do, TJ.
Sorry, uncalled for. Anyway.
So we've got Cass Scenic Railroad number 5 versus Cass Scenic Railroad number 6. Did you know Cass has Shays?
No way.
You?
I didn't know they had a Heisler.
I thought
Wait,
that was just.
it's in the intro, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Whoops.
Yeah, that was
Every day
that
I'm
was
Heisler.
when me making the intro went to TJ. God damn it! Why'd you have to use the slow locomotives? I speed them up to 1,000% and they're still slow. They're still too slow for the intro.
Although I love... Hang on. His Heisler's going faster than my 36.
Yeah, but his is sped up to 1,000%.
Yeah, but why is mine not going... never mind.
Because
If
I
his
used-
is too slow...
I used yours in a different way.
Okay. That makes
His
sense.
was
I
just
gonna say,
coming-
because if his is too slow, then why is mine slower and it's at normal speed?
Well, yeah, but yours is going forward and then backwards.
Yeah.
So who's
Okay.
gonna fire the first shot?
Coin toss.
You
could go first.
Well, I mean, we can sort of
Wait.
do that, but...
Okay.
Alright, so every day I'm Heiseling is getting the first shot.
Yep. Damn, Heiselen.
Boy pressures.
We're slowing down. We're probably nearing somewhere.
Boiler pressure?
Mm-hmm.
200 pounds.
200
Per square
pounds.
inch. Draw.
Oh, this is beautiful. Okay,
We're
0 and 0.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna go through Guadalajara.
Top speed?
We're gonna stop.
30 miles per hour.
Dang it.
You want to
Heisler
go faster than 18, you have to throw it over a cliff.
The
It's actually,
Heisler
top
has
speed's actually 25.
the speed
What?
advantage.
No. Going down a mountain.
Okay,
I
what's
can
your
see that.
how many axles do you have, TJ?
Whoa. You're not in this. Leave.
Yeah, but he gets to ask.
I get to ask questions because I'm asking both of you because I'm genuinely
I don't have that.
look
You
at
don't
a
have-
picture of the engine. How many axles does it have?
He loses this point for being dumb.
Oh,
Milky, how many
no.
axles do you have?
3. I have 3.
Tri-beam wheel.
You can't.
I don't think I've...
Okay, you both are idiots.
You
Moving
don't
on.
have 3 axles on.
No, because
You can't have 3
I-
axles. The
God.
anyways,
Not
But
this,
the,
it's
I don't know
axles.
what the axle of
The-
a locomotive is.
the Shay number 5 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 powered axles. The Hiesler also has 6 powered axles.
Okay, so it's a push anyway. Thank you, Ellis, for understanding what an axle is.
I'm sorry, but when I think axle, I think the axle of a diesel locomotive.
Yeah, that's what we're asking.
Same thing.
I'm sorry, I don't usually defend issues and heavily debate it. So,
Whatever.
Alright, year built.
1929.
1905.
What do you guys decree?
So-
Is it better to be younger or older?
In this case, younger.
Younger? Alright, it's 2 to 0. Hiesler's up.
Okay, tribing wheel diameter
36.
40.
That one
3 to
goes
0. Hiesler looks like it might take the cake on this one.
That one actually I think would go to TJ because on an engine that's specifically designed for traffic
that's
for
right.
tractive effort, it's the smaller one that would have the most effort.
2 to 1.
So Milky wins it for speed because of the bigger drivers, but because
Well, he already
fundamentally
won the top speed. So.
Yes, we know. That's the point.
That's what I just pointed out. He wins speed because of the driver diameter, but because both locomotives are fundamentally designed in terms of driver diameter for pulling, the Shay wins that category
so
for
it's
the
2
small.
to 1, and Shay gets to go.
Alright, 30 tractive
Here's the
effort.
wipers again.
Okay, 22,650 pounds.
Pitiful. 35,100.
Dang.
That means it's 2-2. Shay's up again.
Shay gets it.
I don't think we can do anything else besides
No, we
built
can't.
by and coal.
Well, then go for style points then.
Every day I'm hustling.
Anything special about your locomotives that you
How many survive of each class? Neither of you know this, do you?
No, because the website is very not useful,
I have a
but it's the only thing
spreadsheet.
I could find.
I have a
Okay, I'll
spreadsheet
say-
for it.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
we both have a spreadsheet for it.
I know because I made it and gave it to you.
Yeah.
I also
Do we have just a narrow gauge one? Or that we have a standard gauge one and we have an all one?
Yeah, we have.
Let's just say there's more Shays than there are Hieslers.
Hold on,
Yes.
wait. Hold on.
What?
Ready for this?
What?
There are 114 known surviving Shays.
Ooh. As opposed to how many Hieslers, Milky?
Few.
I know you have 2.
Good start.
It's
I
better
don't-
than the Niagara started with.
Niagara started with 0. We found most of 1, and then we found 10.
9 more.
We found
Did we
over
ever
nine-
talk about that on the
Alright,
podcast?
ready for this? In North America, there are
pretty
only
sure we
20.
Hieslers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
That's
believe that.
still quite a few.
That is that's more than I would have guessed, actually. Although 114 Shays is more than I would have guessed anyway. I probably would have guessed more in the neighborhood of 20 or so Shays and 5 Hieslers. Although I saw 2 Shays today.
2 Shays.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's 13 and 14 for the Georgetown Loop, formerly.
Yeah.
50 grades of say.
Train. Although currently
Alright, so ready for
they
this?
have them numbered for the Argentine Central and the Colorado Central.
Actually, most of them are on display.
I was gonna say a lot. That's there's not 114 of them operating.
That'd be something
given.
to hear about. Where
That's
the hell would
given.
you run that many Shays?
I have no idea.
They'd have to rebuild the Uinta to use some of those.
Strasburg Railroad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Oh,
said,
Send Shays to Uinta. Send Shays to Crawford Notch. Send Shays to Mariah's Pass and everywhere else.
Okay, well, Milky.
You get like Oprah. You get a Shay. You get a Shay.
Fix all the Shays and then divvy them up per company.
Well, Milky, since you're currently down by 1, I'm going to help you with style points. Hieslers were some of the last steam locomotives used by the West Side Lumber Company, which is the geared locomotive capital.
Oh yeah, didn't they have those like giant Shays?
Yes, but again, the Hieslers were some of the last ones they used.
Yeah. That means it's
Whoa,
3 to
they,
3 in the
Heisler then.
points. I'll allow that style point.
What about Hold on, wait.
Does your tender have axles?
Yes, it has 2.
And they're both powered, might I add. Again, you
copy
guys have the same
image
number
URL.
of powered axles.
All right, Ellis. Yeah, but for style points,
Yeah.
this picture.
Oh, let's
Is it
see.
the 50
Let's see.
waves
What's this
of-
picture? What's the picture?
What's interesting about this picture? It's just the Shay sitting there smoking.
It's just a cool picture. I don't know.
It is a cool picture. I'll give you that. It's a cool picture, but what's the style point
Yeah,
for?
it's not a style point.
You could mark a Hiesler there and have the same.
Wait.
picture.
Is it the diamond stack?
Yes.
That could be a
Ding,
style
ding,
point.
ding.
No Hieslers have diamond stacks, or not many do.
Or that picture, maybe.
Ding ding ding.
I don't know.
Isn't it the
They
same-
don't count for style points if they're just a picture.
Would this be a style point considering that Cast 5 has been done in trains and is really nice?
Eh.
The Hiesler in trains is really crappy. Does that count?
Yeah, it
Well, it's old.
sucks.
Nah, I'm not gonna allow that style point.
Oh. Wait,
How about
the trains
how
or the
about-
diamond stack?
Hold on. Ready? Look at that picture, and it's because of Shayception. Can't do that with a Hiesler if there's only 20.
Well,
I hear a
Yes,
fire
you
truck
can,
outside.
but-
You.
What are these pictures? Why are they style points? The style
It's
point
it's
is
just
something
like
that-
Shay porn is basically what it is.
Yeah, but the style
Like-
point is meant to be something that pertains specifically to the locomotive.
It's probably
Not
Not
the
just a
diamond.
cool picture. Again, you
like-
can park any locomotive and make that picture look
Like,
cool.
you know,
It's the
for
diamond
example,
stack.
For example, the Dreyfus being on the cover of what is it? A Van
It's the
Halen
freaking
album.
diamond stack.
You know.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, like that's style points.
Now, as far as everything goes, it's still 3-3. You guys can call for.
Well,
you guys-
there's
You already missed one. You might as well just give up.
Mm-mm. Well, as a style point, because I'm gonna help TJ a little bit.
Sympathetic.
Yeah, They're both at this point. I'm just trying to help both of them to get a little bit more info in this because, frankly, we've had like nothing go between the
Yeah.
two.
Well, that's what I figured would be the problem with these geared locomotive ones.
Well, it's not even the geared.
Stop it.
Wiebold,
Wiebold.
just go.
And this way,
It's not even really the geared loco. Okay, I won't do it for this next one because it looks like a long one and I'm tired. It's not even really the geared locomotive ones, and frankly, I'm sorry, you two. I love you dearly. It's the two idiots debating it.
That's part of it.
There's just there's no guidance between them. Oh God, not a Spain.
Stop doing it.
Not gonna do it.
Can we just call
Anyway.
for votes?
Yeah, that might be a good idea. Although, wait, sorry, my actual point. Shay, the Dixiana Shay was the first locomotive to be put into service on the Roaring Camp and Big Trees.
Yes.
Woo.
You two, do you two think it's worth a style point? I mean, obviously, Wiebold does. JDur, do you?
Sure.
Last one on the
All
west
right.
side.
So that means it's 3-4 Shays up. In the points, are you guys? You think this is good and ready to call the votes?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
You just
I
want to
have
kill him
something.
further?
Yeah.
I was gonna say you're in the lead.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Heislers have angled drive. They get more power on their crankshaft. 4-4.
Ready for this? 2,767 Shays were built over 67 years.
That's pretty good, actually. That's a
I'll
pretty
get back
good
to
one.
him.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Under
Heislers
four,
are symmetrical.
under 4 company names.
And most of them were
better.
built in Ohio.
By
Lima Machine Works, Lima Locomotive and Machine Co., Lima Locomotive Corp., Lima Locomotive Works.
Yep. They were.
Again, I say it. Heislers are symmetrical.
and they're built by the high school locomotives. That is
Square.
All right. Let's vote.
All right, take points.
Take points.
Ellis.
Is the I'll give it the crankshaft one, so it's what 5-5.
Yeah.
JDur, do you think the symmetrical one is good for a style point?
Uh,
Because I don't know.
Style.
Not really.
Yeah, no. I don't care if my locomotive is symmetrical or not.
I have one more style point.
What?
Shay Locomotive has a website called shaylocomotive.com.
Just the type in general has a website?
Yep.
Why?
Because it's
Well,
cool.
okay. Well, let's just.
Oh, right, I forgot the style point about the, Did I count the style point about the 2,000 Shays built? That'd mean it'd be 6 to 5.
I'm not keeping track anymore.
Either way, 6 to 5, we'll call it.
Vote.
I'm still
I
voting
vote-
for the Hiesler because it's cool and kind of.
I vote the
It's-
Shay because Cass has, I forget how many, but a lot of them running.
It's
The
more.
Hiesler wins then.
It's more unique for me. I like the Hiesler better.
The Hiesler wins again because I think
Alright.
it's more unique.
Ah, dang it.
I tried
The Shays,
to. I
the
give you a
Shays are
pity
neat
vote.
to look at, but the Hiesler honestly has everything that a Shay has. It has all the weird gears and crazy stuff going on with it, but it also has connecting rods. It's more recognizable as a steam locomotive.
Well, maybe I would have
Alright.
won if I'd done it. Maybe if I would have won, I would have done a Mastodon. But
Whatever. Alright,
Hang on,
let's move
what?
Next time on Locomotive.
I said maybe we would have. I would have won if we had done Mastodon.
Okay,
Failing at spelling Hiesler over
Double
here.
Trainbow.
Trainbow!
Trainbow, yes.
Woo.
Alright, so, moving right along here. Past Locomotive Versus, made it out of there. We can get rid of the Shay versus Hiesler thing in here.
I kept it there just because we might do the climax one later.
Well, yeah, but that'd be a different thing. Moving on to model railroading.
Woo!
TJ, don't suppose you've been to the PN?
Mm-mm.
Didn't think so. So
I haven't been able to.
I haven't been to the NEB&W either, but I got an email the other day, and remember how last episode I said you can't just build a door? Apparently you can just build a door. I got an email saying something along the lines of, I don't think we should really go back in until they finish putting the door up. And my instant reaction is, wait, we're getting a door now? I thought we couldn't get a door. So, apparently, I think we're getting a door to the club that's its own, and we won't have to deal with other crap. So, yay. But I need to get in there and get Lee out before I go back to Rhode Island, so that could be a problem.
Just bust in through the window.
There is no window.
We're busting you out of here!
We don't have any
Put that on
windows.
the plywood!
But other than that, no, I haven't done anything in model railroading.
Out of the Denver, New Orleans, I have a few things actually. Recently I've been painting tunnels on the narrow gauge stuff. We've been doing switches on the narrow gauge because we've had a lot of old, like, conductive frog switches that are just really no bueno on the narrow stuff, and we've slowly been replacing that with DCC stuff so we can actually run the narrow gauge. I'm developing the website for the club itself. That'll be up. Next podcast we'll actually have a link for the website.
Woo.
I'll talk more about that next time. But I've talked about the Pabalabas over and over and over and over and over again on the podcast. This last week, I still have the lead unit down because I need to get the decoder changed, but for now on the layout, I have the B unit and I have the rear unit pointed forward, so it's just an AB.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I took it out of the diesel shop because I wanted to take a freight, and for anybody that remembers TNF, the episode with the diesel and Stepney, where the diesel kind of rolls out of the shop and is rolling forward, and then there's a great
sucks up
crash.
Sucks up a hat.
Yeah, exactly. There's like this rattling and crash sound. The gearbox of the Pabalaba exploded.
Oh.
Yeah. There was like a screaming type noise, and then it clattered, and then it just stopped moving. So I had to take it off of the track. The B unit the B unit is now the only thing of the set of 3 that's functional. The dummy B unit.
That's not functional.
No, it's not. Well, it functions.
It'd be
as a
awesome
car,
if it
at
was
least.
powered. Just have
It's the
that
only thing
pull.
It's the only thing
Just
that's
have-
illegal on the layout.
No, that'd be awesome if the B unit was powered. Just have that pull on the train, just like, bruh.
Yes, so
it's a box cab.
Literally, but I had to take the engine to pieces. I oiled a bunch of things. The front truck, I think it's just a drive sprocket and a worm gear that I need to replace. They've just never been great running engines, and I've heard from guys at the club, if anybody in the comments has experience with this, please don't hesitate to comment. I've heard guys say that Proto 2000s in general, especially the little bit older ones, which I think the Pabalabas are from like 05-ish. They're just a little bit earlier in the noughties.
Mm-hmm.
They're great engines and they're of spectacular detail and they run great, not out of the box. They get out in the box and they're notorious for having really, really terrible gears, and the gears are always seized up and they break and they're thin and they're flimsy. But as soon as you get the gears sorted out, they run fantastically. The engine has really smooth acceleration. It's got the motor overall is pretty quiet. I oiled the flywheels so that they're not screeching anymore. It's very quiet once the gears are in tune. It's just that you have to get the gears sorted out, which is a gargantuan pain. But besides that, really nothing for model railroading. It looks like TJ and Milky both have nothing as well. JDur, do you have anything?
Oh, I have a lot.
Oh boy.
Alright, well,
looks like we're making it to Madrid anyways.
I was going to say, talk for another 40 minutes and we'll get to Madrid.
That's okay, I've got stuff to talk about.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, the Great Train Expo came to town. Wiebold.
No, he's just really amazed.
Or is there actually a tunnel?
No, there's actually a tunnel.
Could be amazed about that.
But, I got there, and the first layout I saw was an N-scale, and I haven't seen an N-scale set in, I don't know, a couple years. And I forgot how tiny it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, just, I don't even know. But, yeah.
You think that stuff tiny? Look into NN3.
Oh.
NN3.
Is that like Z-scale?
It's N-scale narrow gauge.
Jeez, I'll have to look at that.
It's so insanely small, nobody has ever made it commercially.
But,
0-2. Making a comeback.
But, I walked around the store, or not store, show, met some nice people, and I spotted this on one of these tables. I was talking to this guy, really nice, and he had a Atlas Master C&O U30C. It quote unquote new in the box for $50. I mean for $65, but I picked it up, looked at it. Will you take 65 or will you take 50 for this? Then no hesitation or anything. I just asked, will you take 50 for this? He says, okay. And from the same guy, I got a auto parts car and a caboose.
You just scare him.
What?
Okay, just don't mug me, man. It's okay.
Wow.
We're good.
You're getting mugged, kid. But whatever.
So tired.
And then I walked around to another place in the same show. Found just the grab bins and stuff of just like old Tyco freight cars. They usually don't run that great, but the ones I got sort of run well.
The ones
I got a Tyco Virginian coal hopper, not one of the operating unloaders, but at another show I saw a ton of those. And when I got home, I'm like, why didn't I buy one? I'm an idiot. But I got the Tyco hopper, an old Bachmann log car, and the AHM Rock Island gondola.
It's a mighty good road.
Yeah. Well,
gondola,
even though it runs like crap.
I guarantee.
And considering they all have horn hooks except for the hopper, which has a Katy on one end, it's got a Katy on one end, which is really nice.
Oh yeah, I have a New York Central week for that.
Yeah, but
the
horn hooks are not your friend.
Oh, they're
They
really
are.
not. They're honestly not that bad as couplers. They're just cheap and they don't work with anything but themselves.
But
No, I can get them to fit into a knuckle. It works.
Yeah,
Barely.
if you nip the horn off of it.
No, just whatever. But uncoupling it is just a pain.
Yeah.
no,
I used to commit the ultimate sin and take the horn hooks and take dikes and cut the horn off of it so it was like a really blocky kind of knuckle, and just wedge it into the KDs and it would work.
I did that.
I did that.
I did that because
I went to the club and they kind of laughed.
Yeah. I realized this today. I was looking through the box that my U-boat came in, and in there were replacement horn hook cuppers. Like, it comes with
Cuppers.
KD. I think.
Peppers?
Since it's used,
Cuppers for the birds.
one end of the engine has a KD. The other has, I think, an Accumate coupler.
Those are the Athearn ones?
No, it's an Accumate. It's like a regular coupler, but
Coupler!
whatever.
You said cupper 3 times.
Shut up.
Instead of having like springs or something, the coupler kind of splits in half.
Oh, that's what comes with on the Accumate kits.
Yeah, it's an Accumate.
I'd assume.
It works well, but it's weird.
Like the ones that come in the box, Ellis. Remember those? Came in the box with the PN 40th anniversary.
Yeah, it's weird.
I
I
think
don't
Ellis
remember.
is
I had
dead.
Ray put that thing together for me.
Oh, yeah.
I got home and I
Coupler.
I got the rest of the track I needed for my layout, and I engineered these cardboard. I wanted to have some over/under track and stuff. And originally, I was taking like flaps of boxes and cutting little cardboard like squares and stuff, and then stacking them up to raise the track up.
Mm.
And after I got to where it'd be like 30 little plastic or cardboard like squares just to raise the track up a couple inches, I'm like, well, F this. So then I made these like cardboard, I guess, piers, and just cut them to the cut and stack them to the right height, and just raise the track up that way, and it works really well. So trust me, I'm an engineer.
Until the cardboard gets wet and your train falls.
It works really well.
Until the cardboard gets
Do we
wet,
have
the train
passed
falls.
live or model rating yet? Or are we still there? Brain fart
We're still
moment.
Yeah, and then about a couple weeks after the Great Train Expo, the World's Greatest Hobby on Tour came to town. So obviously I went to that. Got some new switches from
Really?
I have the card for the store where I got these sitting right here. It's called Star Hobby. They're sort of a traveling place out of like their main store's out of like Annapolis, Maryland, like near DC.
Annapolis, Maryland, on Chesapeake Bay.
I'll put a link to that store and then another one where I got some track at the first show.
Cool.
I got a Tyco covered hopper, or actually no, it's an old Bachmann. I looked today. It's an old Bachmann hopper.
Glad you know what you're buying there, Jader.
Horn hooks are not your friend. And then Milestone, I got a turntable.
Woo.
Now you
Yeah,
just have to wire it.
Oh, I did. It works.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. I wired it real good.
Oh, I did.
But yeah, only thing is it's the bridge of the turntable is 9 inches, and the Bachmann one, like that Tim Mached's Bachmann has, is a 10-inch bridge. And basically, the turntable can barely hold my mogul. It's tiny.
St. Johnsbury.
They call the turntable at the Colorado Museum, they call it the strong arm turntable because the pit is so deep. The pit's like 10 feet deep.
Dang.
And it's so deep so that it's balanced really, really well, and it's forgiving as far as balanced. And it's so forgiving that you can turn the locomotive just by pushing the table with one guy.
Cool.
It's
But,
turntable tidbit.
yeah, only thing, it's a really small turntable, and what's cool is it's, we were just about to leave the show, and then I looked around under one of the tables. I saw a box. I'm like, okay, what's this? It's a freaking turntable, must buy. Talked the guy down to $25. He wanted $30. And yeah, it's not like a new turntable. It's like from the late 60s or 70s, judging by the packaging and stuff.
Whoa, man!
It's pretty cool.
Turntable. That's like the dude that's filming this. He's just left the camera on the dash and is in the back of the cab screwing around with the turntable. Turntable,
He's
man.
actually screwing around on acid.
I don't want to know what he's doing behind the camera.
He's behind the bald guy, like drawing stuff on his skull, on his scalp.
But
He's like using an Expo dry erase marker on his head.
you know, all the major manufacturers were there. Bachman's got some cool stuff. I didn't see any that, really anything about the Easy app, unfortunately.
Anything about the Scardoui stuff they're releasing?
I don't know.
But what's like narrow gauge?
Narrow gauge.
And then, I went over to the Kato booth, started looking around, and apparently they have a new product called the Sound Box.
The Sound Box.
Sounds groundbreaking.
Wub, wub, wub.
It's pretty cool, because I don't know if he was like the CEO of Kato or whatever, but, I was looking around it, and he gave me a demonstration, which is pretty cool. Then got home, installed the turntable, wired it up, and then my next project, get a GP7 and paint it as Ohio Central 1501.
Woo.
Copycat.
Welcome, members of the Terminus, to Las Inverness. We're not.
Hang on, here, put up a picture of 1501, Ellis.
Fine.
No. No.
It's cheap.
Come
It's
on,
better.
Hurry up.
Come on, man.
It looks better.
Ohio Central.
Ohio Central. Ohio Central.
Central.
No. It looks
TJ,
good with the
keep your pants
maroon.
on.
What?
TJ's whining about wanting to go to bed.
Oh.
We've got another.
You were the one who got here late.
With
Yeah.
the Spanish
You
stuff.
made us.
You're the only reason we're doing this.
Nobody
late.
heard that.
I don't care what it
Wait.
was. You said I didn't hear it. Therefore, I'm giving you a point.
Oh, crap.
It wasn't my fault.
No, it wasn't
Whatever.
your fault.
Anyway,
But you were the cause.
I had prior engagements.
let's move to our computers, go to V-Scale.
No, we're not yet.
Baba laba ding dong.
Ding dong.
And saying so.
And I've got something to talk about as well.
You got another thing from Model. Oh, that's right. You've got.
I've got
I was supposed to remind you about something.
problems
With what?
Ooh.
with Train
Hey,
Mountain.
come on.
Remember, I'm not on the map.
Oh, that's right. What was the thing that you told me earlier when we were talking about the Thomas stuff? What was I supposed to remind you about?
Shirts, probably.
Maybe actually.
Merchandise.
Although that's later.
Merchandising. I put.
So
eh.
we've got. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
Train Mountain. We've got updates on Train Mountain. Ellis has to sort out some technical stuff, though. He's still going. Milky is still confirmed going. TBA is confirmed not going. Unfortunately, that was a possibility we discussed last week. I think he unfortunately cannot make it. Other news, though, Ellis, I might send you a picture of this. I might not, so viewers don't be too anxious. It's not a lot to see anyway. Currently in my woodshop class,
You already sent me a picture of it. It's on my phone.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my.
That's right.
But I don't actually have a way to.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna put that on the computer and link it in Terminus, then be my guest. But
I mean, it's feasible. It's just not easy. So I'll save that for later.
yeah, well, maybe not. But I'm about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way done with the bobber caboose that I will be bringing to Train Mountain, and that will be our conductor's car.
Wait, why are you working on it in woodshop?
Because I have no tools at home and it's freezing in the garage, whereas the wood shop is heated and ventilated and has all the proper equipment that I need.
Is it wooden?
Yes, it's wooden.
I might have to take woodshop next year just to do that.
At my middle school, we had a wood shop class, and then the teacher retired. Now it's more of like a, engineering type of deal.
And I'm bummed because the German program's dead for next year.
Aw.
The
You can't
district's
take this. You can't take the same class a fourth time. Boo.
Well, it's the kind of thing I could have got a grade boost this next year from it, but they're killing the program. They're killing the program.
Oh.
They're probably
So,
like,
yeah.
that guy is farming this for A's.
But that's basic.
Now we're looking at
at
chairs.
seats. But basically, that's all the news for Train Mountain Update so far. Next week, we'll probably be talking about hotel-type stuff, for next time we have Jellies on. Hopefully, we'll have figured that out.
Mm-hmm. That'd be good.
Over spring break, likely, depending on family plans for spring break, I'm hoping to get a lot done.
Hey, movie!
They're watching a movie. Oh, copyright!
Copyright.
Pot Manly.
I don't have something to put in front of it.
Put in front of it, Pot Manly. Quickly! Okay, it's gone.
Just like in editing, just like green, like just like crop a picture of Pop.
Please,
Manly
I'm not
on the
going to
screen.
remember to find that in editing.
He doesn't edit Terminus anyway. It's too long to edit.
That's what she said.
But, yeah, that's basically it. Spring break, depending on how family plans go, I'll probably be building our flat car. I got the trucks done not too long ago. I have settled on just doing a flat car because it's... You don't really realize it. It's not much more comfortable than the gondola, but the gondola is tricky to get into, and there's not as much legroom in the gondola, which
the
is
flat car you
importante
just
for me.
sit.
The flat car, your feet can kind of slide on and off, and if you want to, you can spin the chair around, and you can do all this kind of stuff. The Gon is very hard to get into, and if there is an issue, it's very difficult to get out of. Like if, really bad case scenario, if the train were to roll over, the flat car, you can just kind of fall clear. The Gon, you're going to get stuck in it.
Oh no!
The Gon, you're more or less trapped in it. I expect you, if we roll over, I expect you to say,
I will make that noise if we crash the train. I promise.
Okay. I guarantee we'll crash it in one way or another.
I will make sure of that too.
Depending on how we do it, on a scale of rolling over, we will at least have one minor
The 1 inch between here and eternity.
Based on how I've seen other people at the live Steam Club going and everything, it's just part of the hobby. You derail every now and again.
Ellis is just sitting...
Especially on a track of 39 miles. You can't have all of that perfectly maintained.
No, of course not.
We're going to derail at one point or another.
Ellis is just sitting in the flat car, rocking it back and forth.
Like, come on, Crash.
He's on the bobbler.
I'm going to be on the bobbler.
He doesn't have to rock it back and forth for it to be unstable. It just is.
Bobbler delinquents, man.
No, the bobber will just buck him off.
Bobber, I forgot about that. The bobber's gonna.
You're like on a.
I had an idea.
And then the bobber just bucks him off, and he just falls.
I had an idea for a Bobbler Delinquents t-shirt. We'll get to more of this later, but I just wanted to put this out there. It's like, you see the silhouette of the Bobbler, and it says, like, it is like Thug Life painted on the side, and has a backwards baseball cap, and there's someone, like, flying off the rear platform. Bobbler Delinquents.
Bobbler Delinquents.
Alright, V-scale.
Yeah, V-scale.
Did Milky get to talk about his thing?
Wait.
I forget.
No.
I thought I did.
I
Train show in April. Piss, I forgot.
Yeah.
That's PS, not piss, dude. Just so you know.
But anyways,
Train show in April, moving on.
Yeah, in Eugene. And TJ, stop moving on for me.
Interrupting Milky podcast.
What do you have to say? It's a train show in April in Eugene.
In Eugene, yeah.
TJ, we all know you want to go to bed. If you really need to go to bed so badly, you're okay to go to bed.
We know you didn't do anything in V-scale other than like pocket trains, and I'm not even sure if that counts.
It's virtual.
TJ, I'll wait.
Pocket trains is pretty...
That doesn't count. You can't take a train from Iceland to England, no matter what the game tells you.
It's not Iceland, it's Paris to England, and you can.
Oh, but you can take a train to Iceland to England in pocket trains.
You can?
Yes.
That's so stupid.
It is!
You can build onto the
Why
Atlantic
are we
Ocean.
talking about pocket trains, Milky?
No, I was
God.
done.
He was
So
done
good at this.
for once.
He was done.
Alright, V-scale.
V-scale.
Gmod.
I don't think anybody's done anything in Gmod.
Milky has. He tried to build one. He tried to build one of the War Zeppelins. I finally had to explain the rules of the original challenge to somebody. Like
Whoa.
6 months after I came up with it.
Yeah,
And,
that's because
you know,
those wood.
Keep it aloft however you feel like it. Build things only out of wood, and that's basically it.
Yeah.
And I
Build it to the point where not everything has to be made out of wood because it's a little bit unrealistic, but build it to the point where if it were to catch on fire and all the wood were to suddenly disappear, it would fall apart and fall out of the sky.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? You can build tracks from New York to somewhere in the Middle East.
Actually, you can build tracks from New York to Portugal. That's not the Middle East.
Totally legit.
That's where we're going on this train.
We're not
about halfway there.
We're not going to Portugal. I'm sorry.
Close enough. Hang on, it's 38 minutes now. I was looking at it like 5 minutes ago and it said 36.
That wasn't 5 minutes ago.
Oh, it was 2 minutes ago.
So
I looked at it twice and I was like, wow, that was a long minute. And now I'm looking at it again and it immediately looked like 36. I'm like, is the timer broken?
Let's try and bang out all the Iron Horseman Chronicles stuff here. Wiebold, you finish L4. It got sent to me. I'm going to be putting it together with Milky's done bit, which is the city of Layton, which is L3, and up to Summit, which needs to be worked on.
I will.
New Davenport is more or less complete. I'm not in love with all of it, but it looks pretty good.
What parts of it aren't you in love with?
The parts where JDur used building splines.
Oh,
and
that's excuse me.
And also the roads going to nowhere, but that's a discussion for a different time.
Yeah.
And third-party dependencies.
Why are you suddenly going fast? We have another 20 minutes before we're in Madrid.
Yeah, I know, but we could... Because of TJ, honestly. Because I don't want TJ to pass out before we finish the podcast.
Can't he just go? He's left before.
Yeah, but I'd rather him not.
I'd rather not.
Exactly.
Either. If I want... If I
moving.
didn't... If I left,
Welcome
to Guadalajara, Yebus.
Yebus!
Yebus!
Alright, let's keep moving.
So,
I'm kind of hung up on the Guadalajara Yebus thing.
I'm gonna be moving in what is built of the gorge, but it's more than likely that Milky is going to tear most of that down and start over, because Agili's, being that he's
lazy.
Well, that is a discussion for not on the Terminus, because I am... Let's say I have strong feelings about the subject. Because he is unable to continue work in his current state. Most, if not all, of his construction has been relegated to Milky, and may or may not be passed on to JDur at some point, depending on what segment it is. Speaking of which, not heard much from TJ. How's your work going?
Well, as I just edited, I just remembered I'm killing my computer
With grass?
with grass.
Perfect. Okay, he's
Great
working
job.
on that.
Literally, the whole map is going to be grass.
That's perfect. I love it.
Grass.
Grass for days. Things look better with grass, I've learned. And I'm working
Even though
on
it kills.
I'm working on the 2-foot gauge section, which is tentatively called the Waterville and Blindside Bluff Railroad for its 2 termini. It's going to have switchbacks. I wish it could have ball signals, but we can't find them anywhere. So I'm not sure what I'm going to use as a signaling system. What?
Would there be a Hawassi loop?
No, we're going to have switchbacks though.
Oh.
And I'm basing the landscape off things I learned in geology class. So when we aren't paying attention to the atmosphere, we were talking about glaciers and how they carve out certain sections and leave things called drumlins, which are oddly shaped hills. So
Drumlins.
West
In the high hills of Scotland, there's the Drumlins.
Exactly.
Oh.
A few thousand years ago, there was an ice age and there were glaciers, and now there are drumlins. So that's just about that. I'm going to be piecing things together. I'm going to leave the mountain division and the coastal division separate for now, because it will be a pain to work on stuff for the 2-foot gauge and have to pass it back and forth to Milky, who's been working on stuff elsewhere.
Question.
Yep.
You call it the Waterville and Blindside. Does that mean I can refer to it as the Cripple Creaky?
No, because it's not the same Blindside, which is why I might change the name in the future.
Dang it.
It is not the Cripple Creaky. It does not run to Blindside. We're not in the Fontaine Sea.
Oh. I thought we were in the Fontaine Sea.
No.
We were. You told us.
I did not. We
Yeah,
take
you did.
we take place in the same universe as
But it's not
the
the Fontaine.
Wars. but theoretically we're on.
Johnson has
we're
been
just,
to the, or not Johnson, William, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
The barge has been to the Fontaine.
Yeah. The tugboat's been to the Fontaine, or either the tugboat's been to the Fontaine or the Balto's been over here. Which either is
of which
equal,
is okay.
Either is equally as likely because the
Whoa, tripping on the camera.
the ending.
He came out of the tunnel into the really bright light and then camera
I can totally see the NDR and the Baconic regime doing something like the Great White Fleet, where we just take our nicest stuff and drive it around the globe to impress
No
people.
running down.
What?
No running down on the sign.
But yeah, Balto. We're not in the Fontaine Sea, we just take place in that. So this isn't the Cripple Creaky.
Dang it. Alright.
So, and on a different front, now that that's all worked out, has anybody got anything specific to say on their portions?
On V-scale?
On Iron Horseman specifically.
Not really, because, I sent, my scenicking stuff, I sent that off.
Mm-hmm.
I moved off.
That's not despicable for making it better.
I found out I'm apparently the only one holding us back from doing multiplayer.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
Well, does his part
Shut
really
up,
need to
Milky.
be on the map?
Considering it's Davenport, yes.
Oh, I forgot about that, yeah.
Wow.
No, I forgot you redid it.
It would be
thinking of an area.
theoretically possible to go for a fresh install and then load up the map, see what's missing, and fix it. Just build with built-in assets and downloadable content assets. from
Or
the
just
down-
upload
Maybe
some of the
when
stuff
I get a
to
new computer, maybe
DLS.
I'll try it. See if it's possible.
Just down, or
Don't-
just
don't-
upload it to the DLS.
Don't worry about it too much. Considering
Frankly, the multiplayer just isn't.
It
We're
isn't
not going to
worth-
be using it for filming.
it isn't worth the effort.
It
really.
isn't really.
Yeah.
Which is why
It's
we're
bad.
gonna save. Which is why JDur's route is the multiplayer route.
Right.
hmm
Or the
It's gonna-
upcoming East Coast Providence and whatever it is.
Whenever I get to that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Or-
a few months till mine's done, but yeah, work in progress. Whoa.
It's better
Yeah.
than mine. Mine's going to be a
Or
few
mine.
years probably.
Mine might be.
And mine, I don't think I have anything DLS.
Well, you have ground.
That's true.
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah.
It's like if you load it up on a computer without any content, you'd just get some. You'd get some blank baseboards.
Mm.
The loop that I'm currently working on is going to be multiplayer compatible.
You're including that as V-scale, Ellis?
Oh, it's in the wrong spot. Well, yes, it is.
Okay.
It is.
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
It is
Sure.
included in V-scale because the zombie train was a
The ZT is.
train's
In that
production.
case,
Train.
in case I should put.
That's how the tall go.
as well, actually.
Oh,
So
Wiebold.
we've got.
I saw it.
I got chapter 10 done. Wiebold, I need to talk to you after the podcast's over if you're still up to it.
I'm still up to it. I'm probably not going to bed for a little while longer. I can sleep until like noon tomorrow.
I know that
Okay.
feeling.
I've got nothing.
So that's just the way it's gonna be then. I finished chapter 10. We're working towards one of the big moments in the story. We just passed a couple. I did at least. Actually, you did as well, Wiebold. But you're working
What?
past some big moments in the story. It's all been like
Yeah.
build up, and then a bunch of things happening in pretty rapid succession.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be having one of the defining moments of what makes Firefall Firefall very soon, followed by a second moment of what makes Firefall Firefall.
Mm.
The second one being what gives the title its name.
Which is going to be interesting,
Very.
to say the very least. It's the kind of thing I figured out why I'm not writing as much on Beta Rail.
Yeah?
I think it's a lot of it. It boils down to that formula of just saying a lot of it is development building up to the big moments, and the development building up to the big moments obviously isn't as good as writing the moment itself, so
Yeah.
it's boring.
Rio Jarma.
And then when you finally get to the moment, it's either a number of things. Either A, you're too tired from writing the development to write the big moment, and you get bored. B, the big moment doesn't really turn out as all it's cracked up to be, and you just kind of move on, and then you're back to more development, and you have no sense of accomplishment from it. Or C, which I think honestly is one of the worst ones. It's the worst one, but it yields the best product.
Just go.
I'm kidding. And it's not. That would be you take forever to write the big moment to get it just right.
Yeah.
Which it is good for the overall product, but in the long run, it's just painful to do sometimes.
It's good for the reader. It's not so good for the writer.
It is.
Anyways.
Very true. Beta Rel, I'm not really sure when we can expect Firefall to be released, honestly. Hopefully by the summer.
Yeah. It'll probably be done by then at least.
Yeah.
And then we can go back and start working on our respective beginnings again. I have a lot of stuff to cover in the rewrite, and that includes Breaking the Siege of Toronto. It includes Yonkers.
You're actually going to write Yonkers in?
I'm going to write Yonkers in.
Oh, dear.
That's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to break out World War Z again and reread the scene.
Right.
For anyone here who hasn't read the book World War Z, not watched the movie, that's a different thing. Read the book. Read it. It is completely and totally worth it. If you're a fan of zombies.
It's sad because I haven't read the book.
Yeah. Well, no.
Neither have I.
You're one of the people I was directing it at.
Yeah. I caught that subtly.
So, there's going to be a lot more stuff to add. Also, maybe, I'm not sure if I'm going to save the Constitution thing for the Islander Chronicles, but that may be alluded to or pointed out in the original Zombie Train.
You may also want to allude slightly, Yonkers, give yourself opportunity for tie-ins both to, maybe not so much the past because you've already written it, but some of the Army stuff in the past, as well as,
the future.
Portland, yeah.
Yeah, I getcha.
Like in
I'm going to leave it more open-ended. I mean, right now it's as open-ended as can be because the original The End of Days just kind of drops off. And it's like, and then a bunch of stuff happened, and then Firefall happened.
Right. That was kind of the thing with Beta Rail too, actually. I'm just realizing is that we talk about Golden, and then 5 months later, and here we are today.
Well, yeah, but you don't do anything in that 5 months because you're sitting. True. You're sitting.
We're just kind of keeping it the same business of going up and down the state, doing what we do. Whereas you guys have Yonkers. Do you allude to Yonkers a lot in the story itself, or is it just kind of there?
I've mentioned it at least once in both books so far.
Okay.
In The Pass and Firefall.
We really need to talk about that more in depth now that you're writing it in, because it is a pretty big point.
Gomez.
It's very important.
Vladimir Gomez?
Yeah. Anyways,
sounds like a Russian leader, a bird, and then a name.
Milky, what's the Tillamook branch? Or I know what the Tillamook branch is, but what are you talking about here?
Moo.
No.
Are there cows? Oh, I see.
It's where the cow engine lives.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It's similar to that, except for it's based in 1989 to 1990.
Oh yeah.
So
are you building this?
I am.
Good luck.
In fact, it's 100. Well, it's actually 88.1 miles of branch line from Selma to Banks to Steffen.
Sounds like an interesting ride.
Yeah.
Moo.
It goes through mostly heavy forest and through Weber Canyon.
Maple Beach Birch.
And it goes down the Pacific Ocean for about 10 miles, which is really cool.
Dem views.
And it interchanges with the Burlington Northern at Banks. And it interchanges with the SP in Hillsborough.
SP.
And you haul lumber from the mill to
lumbar support
to the Portland metro area of Banks and whatnot. And then you ship that off map and have the empties come back.
Whoa, okay. JDur, don't look.
Oh, God.
Welcome to
Spain.
Cerro Negro.
Cerro Negro. Stock Catalina.
Look, you don't look
half
either.
of that is pretty bad, and half of it's pretty good.
No, it's all pretty bad.
Wow.
That's true. Skywell shall not prevail. Oh, look, a yard.
Anyways.
That means we're exactly 10 minutes
psychedelic.
from
Freight.
Oh, it's freight.
Oil train, oh, where are the protesters?
What's right? Oh, they're all in tank-tainers.
Tank-tainers, yeah.
All right.
That's the technical term.
Can I do my V-scale?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right, so, the Davenport Southern Railroad, as Ellis said, is my main multiplayer standard gauge and narrow gauge route. About 50%-ish done. My next project, an Ohio Central route, maybe a DEM map, which is where, you select an area in Google Maps or something, and then you can paste it into trains.
Oh, wait, how do you do that?
Wait, you can do what?
I don't exactly know how it works.
I need to do that. That is how I will build the Troy Northeastern.
I need to do this too.
Hang on, what is it? Does it hang on, what
this
does
is
it do?
You can take a real map. Here's the link.
A DEM map.
It's a bad. It's kind of a not great website at explaining it, but it sort of works.
Does it just take the geography of the area and put it in trains? Oh, okay, I see. It puts it as a texture so you can tell what you're doing.
Yeah, and then it put. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I thought you put this weird file in trains and it would somehow create the geography of the area.
That's what I wanted.
That's what
it says terrain shaping by DEM data. So terrain shaping.
This is kind of outdated, I'd say. If I can find a better website, I'll
it
let you
works
know. I'll
for
link it
Train
in the
Simulator
comments.
12, so I like it.
Yeah.
If that manages to work, that'd be great for you, Ellis.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you suddenly just have the coastline and you just put in what the map says as far as roads, tracks, and towns.
It would make me able to do, instead of the Troy Northeastern, to do the PNN, which is what I wanted to do anyways.
You could do an extremely accurate rendition of it.
Well, that's what I wanted to do. The reason I didn't is because getting the maps and getting the topography is so damn difficult.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well.
True.
Yeah. I think we have one little thing left.
Yeah. I have a couple more things.
We'll go through it quickly because we're running out of track.
Okay, but other stuff. KNL 614 Megapack is coming.
Yes.
Woo.
And about a month ago, I downloaded some San Juan Trains engines. I fixed them.
No, you didn't.
Shut up, Wiebold.
Shut up.
Oh.
Lies and deceit.
They don't go light speed.
Lies and deceit.
And also, some sad news for the trans community. R.I.P. Bobcast, you will be missed. Yeah.
There's going on.
But yeah, that's all my V scale.
All right. Well, we have one more segment.
Should we save the maintenance of way stuff for next podcast? Maybe when things haven't run so long.
No, because we've got 4 more minutes left into Madrid. We might as well get into the station.
Make it quick.
Well, we're thinking of making Terminus T-shirts, and really the question is, what kind of, or not necessarily what kind of T-shirts would you like to see, but would you buy them if we made, for example, a tender decking T-shirt or a GG1/2 T-shirt?
T-shirt.
November 2nd on November 2nd.
Yeah, November 2nd. Or my personal favorite, the D.
It's basically just the D engine. Yeah.
It's basically the engine from a few episodes ago.
Yeah, the engine that everyone remembers, knows, loves dearly.
Everyone loves the D.
We thought of doing a few more, a November 2nd on November 2nd one. Ellis mentioned earlier the Bobbler Delinquents.
Yeah.
We could probably do a few more.
The first one on the block is just a regular one with a logo that Wiebold made, and potentially a follow-up being the tender decking one. When we get to that one.
Yeah, the big one for you guys probably would just be the big logo T-shirt. Which do we want to put that in the cargos? Or can we?
I will try to.
Okay. That's our new official Terminus logo. That'll
be down in the cargos.
It's kind of like the timetable thing, but a little bit more streamlined and a little bit more stylized for a logo. Could we go a little bit faster, train?
Now you're just trying to get there so we can get there on in time.
I'm trying to time it so at the end of the podcast is as we're pulling into Madrid station because that'd be really cool.
We have a couple of minutes here, so let's.
But basically, you guys just give us your ideas for shirts if you'd like to see them. They probably wouldn't be available from an official shop, but we'd be able to send you the file, and then you'd order them custom from a website that we use. We'd probably wear them at Train Mountain if they take off.
We're going to wear them at Train Mountain. I don't care. I'm gonna buy one. And so it's just how many do we make?
Right. For Terminus Live, we're gonna have them at Train Mountain.
Which, by the way, we're taking personal requests and questions for this podcast.
No, we're not.
Wait, what?
Oh. Alright, come on.
We'll talk about that more next week.
We'll get to that soon enough.
Next
we'll get to
on the
Terminus Live
Terminus.
details.
So let's bring ourselves into our terminating tracks here.
First
up, of course, is...
Oh, that's really freaking close.
First up, of course,
Oh, it's
is
the same
JDur
train.
with 3 points.
How did JDur...
No, TJ...
How did that work?
I don't know.
I don't know. JDur got 3 points.
I think TJ had 3.
TJ had 3, but he lost 1 because of winning Locomotive Versus.
He didn't win Locomotive Versus.
Well, he won with the points.
Whatever. Okay.
He won with the points, he didn't win with the votes.
I thought you had to win with the votes.
You can win with either.
Okay. Yes, sure.
Gotta love the GG1. We have the regular GG1. We have the baby GG1. We have the GG1 half. And the GG wrong.
GG wrong.
Where's the link to this thing?
Right here.
Milky? Or TJ next?
Actually, you're next.
Oh. Okay, TJ's gone.
What's next? TJ, you got something to say while Wiebold holds his breath? Well, he put this thing called Get Down Goblin. I'm just gonna leave this guy in the terminations for you guys. I, of course, am gonna say that I hope these t-shirts turn out fantastic, because they've come along quite well so far. And Milky with 0 points remaining.
How a Real Railroad Deals with Snow, a documentary about how Southern Pacific dealt with their snow problems in the 1950s. When the snow was the worst on Donner.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, welcome to Madrid, everyone.
And remember, the train will terminate at the station.
At the station.
See you next week, guys.
Sayonara.
Oh, sweet.
Bye.